Just won't work on the one browser. All right. Bless you.
Thank you. Where'd you see East Carolina? Oh, Easy Carolina. What?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Hold on 1 second. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. I figure, Mark, the more I yell, the more we warm up. It's chilly. That advisory, that warning, that watch, what was it you issued?
It was a sock and shoe warning that will expire, I believe, tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it's in effect now, because whether it's 36 in Jacksonville, 40 in Tampa, St. Pete, or mid to upper 40s in Fort Myers, Naples, this is winter by our standards. Man, this is Arctic blast. This has to end.
You were mocking yesterday. I'm in Green Bay where people understand what cold is.
Well, they do. And we don't.
You flew to Florida and you turned soft overnight.
No, well, I'm just trying to, relate with the peeps. That's all.
Oh, boy.
Just trying to, be one of. That's all. I mean, folks in Huntsville are still laughing at us. They're like, it's like 10 degrees colder here. You guys really need to toughen up. But it's cold enough. That's it. My wife postponed her walk by like 5 hours yesterday. Did not realize there was a minimum walking temperature, and it was below it. Temperature needed to rise above it before her walk would take place. So apparently the same rules are in effect today. Walk's going to be postponed for a while, put on hold. Huh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't walk outside. Like, I wouldn't even consider it. This is a treadmill day. Tell your wife there's got to be somewhere she can go walk on a treadmill. That would be my advice.
We used to have one of those. It hung
clothes on it. Now that you're in this high-end building, I would figure that there's some sort of workout room that comes with the complex you live in.
There's not. There's 2 pools, though, but no workout room. Nobody's here is interested in being in shape.
I did laugh yesterday because I do go walk on the treadmill. And there was a gentleman sitting by the pool yesterday.
Okay.
No. Sitting by the pool. It was 50-something degrees out. And dude said, you know what? I'm not going to let this weather affect what I do during the day.
Right.
So I'm going to put my jacket on and I'm going to go sit by the pool.
Do you think he was trying to like get some rays for his face? You know, the sun bouncing off the water.
No, I think it's just the hour and 30 minutes he spends away from his wife, and he finds it glorious, and he wasn't going to miss that for anything.
Joe Flacco at the Applebee's in Cincinnati. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Robes in our Twitch chat room said, go figure. Okay, that, yesterday it was 31 in Jacksonville, 34 in Fargo. Nice of you to check in, Robes. Hope you and the family are well.
But I'm interested to talk to Bud later this morning because the committee last night basically told you what they think of every conference not named the Big Ten, and particularly the SEC. Because they bounced BYU from 7 to 12 and said, you know what, BYU? Unless you win the revenge match in the conference championship, you have no chance of getting in. None whatsoever. Because if you look ahead as to who Texas and Oklahoma play, if they continue to win, now Oklahoma's got a tough one. They could lose to Alabama and get bounced. But who knows? They could lose to Alabama and go up 2 spots in the polls because they're in the SEC, and that's all that matters.
You're catching on.
I mean, when you start looking, and we did this yesterday, when you start digging down into the wins of these schools, there's no one that's really all that impressive. I mean, Alabama's done a nice job. They beat Georgia. They beat a good Vanderbilt team. They have some wins on their schedule. But the top 3 don't have much. You know, Ohio State had Texas in week 1. Indiana, I still think, had the best win of the year, going to Oregon. Texas A&M going to Notre Dame. But to put Texas and Oklahoma ahead of BYU is a bit of a slap in the face to what BYU's done this year. They're a 1-loss team. They had to play a game at 10 in the morning in Lubbock. They lost. Okay. We're going to move them from 7 to 12 on that one. All right. You showed your hand. I get it. And I don't think most people care because I don't think there are a lot of people that get upset about BYU. But if we were to replace BYU in name with a lot of other schools, maybe there'd be a little more anger. But I guess Greg Sankey was right. Let's just have a tournament with 8 SEC teams. We'll call it college softball.
What I am most interested about is how far will Texas and Oklahoma fall when they both lose this weekend, but they're losing to the 5th and 4th ranked teams in the country, respectively. It'll be the 3rd loss for Texas, but in fairness to Texas, look at the quality of their losses. Pretty damn good. They will have lost at Ohio State. They will have lost at Georgia. I mean, that is 2 of the top 5. You know, the other loss off the top of my head escapes me.
Florida. Florida.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right. Not a good loss. No, not a good loss. And yet they're 10th. Notre Dame, 2 losses is 9th. That's the other thing that the committee is doing for the first time, Mark, so far. The committee is putting 2 loss teams ahead of at least one loss team from a power conference. And actually more than that, because Georgia Tech is what?
They're 8-1.
And where are
16th.
they? 16th. 16th. I mean, now I'm starting to wonder if Georgia Tech beats Georgia, but loses in the ACC title game, will they get an at-large? I mean, that's pretty far down. They put Georgia Tech one spot below Miami.
Miami jumped from 18 to 15. Georgia Tech jumped from 17 to 16. But yes, the Hurricanes are one spot ahead of Georgia Tech. They're behind Vanderbilt. Now, I mean, can we just look at that right there? They're behind Vanderbilt.
Right.
What's Vanderbilt's best win?
I think it's Missouri at home. And, once again, are you rewarding the win at the time of the win? Or are you taking a look now at the resume and going, well, Missouri's not even ranked? But I think that's Vandy's best win.
It is.
Right.
It is. And they're rewarding Utah for 2 good losses in their estimation, even though they got their butts kicked against Texas Tech. That was at home, by the way. Texas Tech went into Utah and whooped them, and they lost a close one in the Holy War to BYU. But Utah is 2 spots ahead of Miami. Now, Miami's losses are ugly. We get it. They did beat Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And that seems to mean nothing to this committee. Nothing.
Well, the only thing it means is that they're willing to rank 2-loss Miami ahead of 1-loss Georgia Tech because of that win over Notre Dame.
But, I mean, how does Miami not ranked ahead of Utah? Explain that to me. They beat Notre Dame. But first off, Miami should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame. They played head-to-head. Who won? Miami. But they're not going to do that. We've told you that for a month.
I mean, it certainly appears as if the last chance for Notre Dame to be knocked out of the playoff realistically is this coming Saturday.
Right.
That if they go to Pitt and win, and by the way, will Pitt then drop out of the rankings? Because that'll really hurt Miami for when they play Pitt. And obviously they're hoping to win. But if Notre Dame beats Pitt, is that essentially a play-in game for Notre Dame?
They have Syracuse and Stanford after that. So what David is saying by beating Pitt, they shouldn't have any problem in their final 2 games. Syracuse is playing a third-string quarterback now, and Stanford's a terrible Power 5 team, Power 4 team.
By the way, did you see how Syracuse covered against Miami by that half a point? The lacrosse kid came in, let him down the field in the final 2 minutes. The lacrosse player. But I digress. Yeah, this is something. There's a lot of rankings that don't pass the blind resume test. I mean, think about it. They moved Miami up 3. Miami beat Syracuse. What'd they do to move up 3? Notre Dame's now 9th with 2 losses. Texas is 10th with 2 losses. One of them a bad loss. I mean, let me ask you this. Texas loses to Georgia this week, but they beat A&M. Is that a 3-loss team that gets an at-large? How does Texas fall below Miami? Let's just do that argument. Miami wins out. They go 10-2. Texas finds a way to win one of the 2 games they have left against teams ranked in the top 5. They put their 9-3 on the board. Don't you think that the committee will put Texas ahead of Miami?
Well, David, I have no idea what the committee will do because it seems that the committee has no idea what they will do. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at
The
AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Kevin Ball. If they're both undefeated, they're both getting a bye. Yeah, but you can't look at last year, Ryan. I mean, I'm sorry. They are doing everything they can do to screw the ACC right now. Don't get me wrong, the ACC helps themselves in doing this, but
Coffin ball. I don't know how the loser wouldn't get a bye unless they got blown out, I guess. But let's say Texas Tech wins out. Would you put the loser of the Big Ten title game behind Texas Tech?
I know you can't watch those TikToks, and I forgot when I sent it to you, but David, he does a bit where he's talking about the Democrats blowing it in the shutdown. And he said, it kind of reminds me of a football team blowing a fourth quarter lead when leading by 10 points for the third time. He starts playing clips of Schumer followed by Dayball, and they're saying the same thing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. We'll have a poll question for you to vote on coming up, I promise. I promise. Bud Elliott to join us in a couple hours to try to make some sense, if there is any, of what the College Football Playoff Committee disclosed last night. I don't even know if we should get worked up about it anymore.
I'm not worked up about it. I'm really not. It is what it is. And I guess, right now, the way it looks, Oklahoma and BYU would both be out because you have to put the ACC champ in at 11 and the group of 5 at 12.
Well, right now, the math would be 5 SEC, 3 Big Ten, 1 Big 12, 1 ACC, Notre Dame, group of 5. And good news for the Bulls of South Florida, the committee has clearly said, you're the leader in the clubhouse, you take care of business, you're getting a bid in the playoff. And I got to be honest, I think South Florida can give someone a game in the playoff. I do.
We'll see. I hope you're right. It would be great. But there are a couple of other things that I've seen some playoff predictions, and right now it doesn't work out that way. And I don't see how Texas Tech, if they went out, would slip anywhere from where they are. But just work with me for a second.
Okay.
There could be the potential of a Texas Tech versus Texas first-round matchup in Lubbock. Wouldn't it be something if the winner of that game got A&M? I'm just saying.
This little regional here, to go NCAA basketball, this little regional, we're just going to let the Texas schools battle amongst themselves. One of them will emerge in the Final Four.
But I don't know how interesting that would be to the rest of the college football world, but wouldn't we all be kind of pulling for Texas Tech? Unless you're an SEC guy that's just going to start beating that banner and chanting those 3 letters come December through whenever the SEC's done playing.
I do think it's important, though, if we're going to talk about it for a little while longer, that right now the math adds up to 5 SEC, 3 Big Ten, and everybody else gets 1. But Mark, the teams that are 10 and 11 are expected to lose. First off, Texas would be the last at large, I believe, from the SEC right now.
Correct.
Okay. They're going to lose Saturday in Athens. That will give them a third loss. We have never had a team participate in the college football playoff at the Division 1A level with that many losses before. However, Texas could then beat A&M at home after Thanksgiving. And that's why it's important to note, would a 9-3 Texas get an at-large over a second Big 12, a second ACC? This is a fifth SEC team, mind you. My guess is Oklahoma with a loss, even though it's to Alabama. I'm guessing Oklahoma with a loss is out. Because if for no other reason, Mark, if they then post a 9-3, they will have lost to Texas. So Texas would be slotted at least one spot ahead of them. So I'm not worried as much about Oklahoma getting the at-large over an ACC or Big 12 school right now. But we're talking a 9-3 Texas with a bad loss on the resume. Florida. Might not be bowl eligible, Florida. And Mark, I believe they would be slotted ahead of a second ACC, ahead of a second Big 12.
Well, there's one thing that I'm just going to – I see exactly where you're coming from. And I know that they've already beat this team. But if they lose that third game and beat A&M and Vanderbilt wins their remaining two games, one of which will be against, wait for it, number 23 Tennessee, who stays in the rankings, would Vanderbilt then have a shot at 10-2 of getting the last at-large bid?
Now, that would be an interesting debate, just those two. Who do you rank higher? 10-2 Vandy, whose best win would be?
Tennessee.
Okay, but remember, by beating Tennessee, they will likely knock them out of the poll.
I'm just telling you that would be their best win.
Right, but Texas will be 9-3 with two of the losses. Pick which one of these next two showdowns you think they'll win or lose. Okay, they will have lost at Ohio State, and let's just say they lose at Georgia. I mean, that's two road losses to top 5 teams.
Right. Then they beat A&M, they lose to Florida. No, David, I got you. And they won head-to-head, but head-to-head doesn't seem to matter because they've got Notre Dame ranked 6 spots ahead of Miami. We all know who won that game.
Right.
Because if you're playing the loss game, who are Vanderbilt's losses to? Alabama, and a close game against Texas. Remember, they rallied to make that a game.
Yeah, Texas had them down big, 3 scores in the fourth. Yeah.
But the other side of this is, and no one really cares, but the Athletic is such a mess right now that James Madison could steal that last bid.
So you think it's possible that when the American gets done that they kind of eliminate themselves?
It's possible. That's all I'm saying. Because, North Texas, and they've got 1 loss, but, Tulane's got 2 losses, Navy's got 2 losses, South Florida's got 2 losses, East Carolina has 3 losses, but all of those teams have 1 conference loss,
right,
and are still viable to get to the conference championship game. Somehow, some way, the Pirates make it to the final game and win it. James Madison's going before East Carolina.
I would agree with that. South Florida at Navy this Saturday. I mean, don't laugh. Navy held their banged-up starting quarterback out of the Notre Dame game. Why? Because the more important game was the following Saturday when they hosted South Florida. because the winner has a very, very good chance of being in the conference title game.
Still a path for the Big Ten to get USC or Michigan in. They've got to win out, but the path is still there for the Trojans and Wolverines to sneak their way into the playoff.
I would say the path is easier for Michigan.
Yeah, they got to win one game.
Right, which lately they've been good at.
USC plays Iowa this week. That's a tough game. They have to go to Oregon, right?
Correct. And don't laugh, UCLA twice in the last 20 years has inflicted real harm on USC in terms of making a playoff. The starting five coming up here on Miller and Moulton. Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance for tickets. Go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Brian, I don't think they can reach the playoffs. I mean, they can get to the championship game. I think if James Madison runs the table, they'd get in before ECU. If ECU would have beat North Carolina State, then they would have had a shot at 10-2. But that's the one I think they'd need back. Or the conference game they lost to, Tulane there.
Now, Coffenbaugh, it's true. Ohio State has to beat Michigan first to make the Big Ten title game. But would Ohio State, even with a loss to Michigan, still get a bye? And Brian Russo, are you asking for Coach of the Year in the conference or nationally? because I don't think he'd be a candidate nationally.
Reggie, we should give you a headset when you're backing up. You could be an analyst the way that you break down the game. I would love it, Biz. You know I'm coming for your job when I'm
All right, David, quick quiz for you. I'll tell you what's wrong with hockey right now when you answer this question.
Okay.
How many teams currently in the league are below 500?
Let's see. 32 teams, correct?
That's correct.
6.
That is incorrect. 5. Calgary, Vancouver, Nashville, St. Louis, and Buffalo. That's it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. 2 hours until Bud Elliott joins us. Here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Got a lot to get to. So I say we get to it. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
The Starting Five, brought to you by Lee County in Florida. Chile, Lee County in Florida. But when they're not Chile, they are building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Think BLT, only we replace lettuce with sports. College Football Playoff Committee. They posted their rankings for the second time. No change in the top 5. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama, Georgia. Texas Tech did move up to 6. Makes you wonder if the Red Raiders run the table and they're 12-1 Big 12 champs. Could they get a bye? Ole Miss 7, Oregon 8, Notre Dame up to 9, Texas in the top 10. It's noteworthy, 9 and 10, a pair of 2-loss teams. Miami rated the best ACC school. or at least the best ACC school season so far. They jumped ahead of Georgia Tech, and the Canes are 15th. Can Miami get an at-large if they don't make the ACC title game? Doesn't look like it, especially considering Notre Dame plays Pitt and Miami plays Pitt. And if they both beat them, how is Miami going to leapfrog Notre Dame or a fifth SEC school? And that's what the conference is in line to get right now. South Florida, by the way, the highest ranked group of 6 school. They're number 24. 8 SEC schools ranked, 4 in the top 7, 6 in the top 11. 6 Big 10 schools, 5 ACC, 4 Big 12. There are now 4 confirmed matchups of ranked teams this coming Saturday. 9th ranked Notre Dame at 22nd ranked Pitt. Game day will be there. First time in 20 years, game day will be in Pittsburgh. 11th ranked Oklahoma at 4th ranked Alabama. 21st ranked Iowa at 17th ranked USC. And 10th ranked Texas visiting 5th ranked Georgia. So there. Of course, those matchups have nothing on Maction last night. Kent State blew an 18-point lead, only to win in overtime, 42-35 over Akron. And Mark, the Broncos of Western Michigan are in first place in the MAC, thanks to their 17-13 home win over Ohio. But that's Tuesday night action. It's a triple header of Wednesday night action coming up tonight. Buffalo, Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, UMass. And let me tell you what a barn burner that is. That's 2 teams combined who I think are 2-16 on the season. Is UMass the last winless 1A football team? Didn't Sam Houston get a win last week?
Sam Houston got a win, David. So you are right. UMass, the bottom team in Division I football.
And they're home playing a bad Northern Illinois team, and yet the Illini are still 10.5-point favorites. Could be the last chance for UMass to get a W. Tonight, 7 Eastern on ESPNU. And Toledo's taking on Miami of Ohio at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. To the NFL we go. Season is over for Travis Hunter with the Jags. Surgery to repair a torn knee ligament, not an ACL. It happened in a non-contact situation at practice a couple weeks ago. So Travis Hunter's rookie year is over. 28-year-old Eagles cornerback Jair Alexander stepping away from the game right now to get right mentally and physically. Still coming back from a knee injury, not who he was, and he's not handling it very well. So he needs to get his mind right. He was inactive Monday night in Green Bay for the Eagles, and he'll be inactive for a few more weeks as he takes some time for himself. Shouldn't we all? Meanwhile, the Steelers, they're banged up in the secondary, so they signed 26-year-old free agent Asante Samuel Jr. Why hasn't he been signed by anybody? Been a pretty good player in his young career. Yeah, he had spinal fusion surgery 7 months ago. That'll scare a few teams off, but not the Steelers. They need the help. NBA. First, did you catch the new change to the All-Star game, Mark? They are still trying, just like the NFL. They're still trying to keep this a made-for-TV event that people give a damn about. That's so cute.
You know, can I have 30 seconds on this?
Sure.
Because the new format has 3 teams.
Right.
1 world team.
Yep.
2 from the U.S.
Correct.
David, if we were simply to just put 1 team together, starting 5, how many U.S. players would be on it?
Not many.
Then what the hell do they need 2 teams for? Give me a world versus a USA, their best versus our best, and I'm not joking. I might be interested. For 1 year to see how they play, I might give it a shot. But this whole we've got to have 2 USA teams and we gimmick it up is flat out stupid. I'm done.
No, I appreciate your contribution to the starting 5, brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. The game's on NBC this year. Remember, Turner had the All-Star game for like 20 years. Turner doesn't have the NBA anymore. So the All-Star game will be on NBC. It will be airing during the Winter Olympics. The lead into the NBA All-Star game is going to be a U.S. hockey game. So it's going to be late in the afternoon. My understanding is the hockey game is going to be like 2 o'clock, and the NBA All-Star game is going to be around 5 Eastern. Just saying. So I think it's good for both, by the way. Good for hockey and good for basketball.
It'd be better for both if it was USA versus the world.
Well,
hell, they could play We Are the World leading up to it for all I care.
All right. There were 6 games in the NBA last night. If the Knicks could just play at home, they might win something. Might.
They don't lose at MSG, baby.
They're 7-0 this year. Of course, they've played 7 home games and 3 road games. They're 7-0 and 0-3. But they were at home last night, and they beat the Grizzlies 136-120. NBC got another good game, at least east of the Mississippi. Sixers with the game-winning putback with less than 9 seconds to go to beat Boston 102-100. Steph Curry got called for the first flagrant foul of his career last night. It's the equivalent of some of the roughing the passer penalties that we see in the NFL. I didn't even think it was a foul, never mind a flagrant foul. Man, is this league gone soft. I think we should put the two side by side and say what's softer and pick the worst roughing the passer you've seen and then go find the Steph Curry flagrant foul. He's laughing on the bench looking at the replay going, what? And remember, those things get reviewed and they still upheld it. Anyway, OKC's 11-1. They beat the Warriors last night 126-102. Utah scored 152 points in regulation last night.
152, yeah.
Most points scored in a game this year. They beat Indiana 152-128. I think the over was the play in that game. Toronto beat Brooklyn 119-109. The Nets are 1-10. Right now, the Pacers and the Nets going at it hard. Wizards saying, don't forget about us for the number 1 pick of the draft. And the Nuggets have won 5 in a row. You're not going to believe it, but Jokic was really good last night. Like 35 and 15. I know, it's shocking. Denver 122-108 over Sacramento. Can somebody explain to me why the Dallas Mavericks fired their general manager, Nico Harrison, yesterday? I mean, you're the one who ordered them to make the Luka trade. Kyrie's out with a knee injury. Now, you're not going to believe this. Anthony Davis isn't available to play every day. And so you guys are below 500 and you're firing the GM? You're the one who told them what to do. But they did it 9 months after making the Luka trade. And don't get me started. I could go on for a very long time. But Michael Ray Richardson, who was a star and then snorted his way out of the NBA on a couple of occasions and then came back and was a star again. He died yesterday at the age of 70. How good was Michael Ray Richardson? Magic Johnson said he was every bit as good as I was. Now, Magic's been known to say a few things that you roll your eyes at. But seriously, when they were at their best, Magic, Michael Ray Richardson, and Isaiah Thomas, Michael Ray Richardson may not have been third. That's all I'm saying. NHL, there were 9 games last night. Pasternak got 2 goals. He's got 400 in his career. Boston over Toronto 5-3.
Goal 400 was sexy.
It was.
He undressed the goaltender. It was a beautiful goal.
It was for a milestone goal too. Outstanding. The LA Kings beat Montreal 5-1. Dallas in overtime 3-2 over Ottawa. Ovechkin got an empty netter. A Capitals player and Freddie Anderson, the Carolina goalie, made contact in the first period. These two teams fought the rest of the game. Washington won 4-1. Ovechkin's got 901. St. Louis 3-2 over Calgary. San Jose 2-1 over Minnesota. The Wild are not good in overtime. McKinnon with 3 assists. Colorado 4-1 over Anaheim. Winnipeg 5-3 over the Canucks. And Columbus in a shootout beat the Kraken 2-1. College hoops last night. Nice move by Duke. They honored A, Veterans Day, and B, a nod to the retired Coach K. They went and scheduled Army at West Point last night on Veterans Day. Now, they whooped up on the Cadets 114-59. Coach K was in attendance. He was the coach there previously. So, but nice move by Duke. A good one between the Gators and Knowles. Florida held off Florida State 78-76. Former Jacksonville standout Robert McRae with 29 in the loss for the Knowles. Good one. Louisville held off Kentucky 96-88. Another good one, Illinois 81-77 over Texas Tech. These are all teams ranked in the top 15. You know, I didn't get the final of Creighton Gonzaga. I know Gonzaga was up at the half. Okay.
Gonzaga whooped him, David.
Okay. And Michigan
90-63, by the way.
Damn, it was close at the half. Michigan held off Wake Forest in overtime, 85-84. And 22nd ranked Auburn. They got the better of Wofford, 93-62. UCF a winner, JU a loser. FGCU at home lost a heartbreaker to Georgia Southern, 95-94. Women's rankings are out. You're not going to believe this. UConn's number 1 and South Carolina's number 2. I know, shocking. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories. And a Pasternak here on Miller and Moulton.
I will add to your Pasternak this Mikhail Brown from Louisville. Fun to watch. Caught a good bit of that game last night. He had 29. He's a freshman. There's a lot of good freshmen in college basketball. Miller and Moulton, a poll question on the other side. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So is the flagrant because he stepped on him a second time when he wasn't looking at him? Like he stepped on his foot. That's where the foul is. Okay. That's what they're calling. Like he stepped on his front foot, but then when going over him, he stepped on his other ankle. He didn't look like he tried to, just like he was trying to move forward. Like it's horrible. Every part of it's horrible.
I honestly don't think he committed a foul. Never mind a flagrant. But it was bad, wasn't it?
Well, I'm sorry, he didn't step on him. The guy who shot it came down on his foot. Now, don't you have to let them land even though he jumped? I'm giving the referees every benefit of every doubt to call the foul. The foul, David.
Right. But Mark, they reviewed that and upheld the flagrant. What did they see that you and I are not
stepped
seeing?
On his ankle when he walked off. That's what they're calling. So he landed on Steph's foot. And then when Steph walked over him, he stepped on his ankle. That's what they're calling. It's horrible. I'm just telling you what I think I see.
Okay. All right. You saw more than I did.
All right. I have a text here of someone who, this is why the expanded playoffs are a complete joke, is what the texter says.
Okay.
So do we ask, what playoff in college football do you like better? 4 teams or 12 teams? Just a thought.
Sure. I like that.
It's National French Dip Day. I love a French dip.
Had one last week.
If you were to put your beef sandwiches, your hot roast beef, your French dip, your Philly cheesesteak, your Chicago beef.
How about a pastrami, or does that not count?
I mean, it's corned beef. It's pastrami. I mean, it's pastrami.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah,
roast
okay.
beef. I'm trying to stick in the roast beef category.
That's fine. We could go with that big 3. I like that. Or do you just go old-fashioned roast beef sandwich, or do you think that that's covered?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, the only plain old roast beef sandwich I know of is at Arby's. We have the meats. My daughter apparently now is so upset that she's not had her phone in a while. She is pulling what an old goalie when I was in Raleigh did on the way to school with my wife. My wife takes 41. See, I take 75 when I pick her up and get her. My wife takes 41. She will do the ad of every, like, jingle of every place they pass that she knows. The entire ride.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We have quite a few areas and roads that we can go down for poll questions today. First off, we could do a sports one. We can. We could do it, probably something having to do with college football, and this is glorious committee that we have. And, we can come up with something. But did you say today is is it like roast beef day?
No, it's National French Dip Day. I love a French dip. I love a French dip so much that I had a buddy when I worked at the Blades, and we'd go out to lunch. He'd make fun of me because if there was a French dip on the menu anywhere, if it was a special, I would be so excited. And he'd see it. You're going to get a French dip today? I mean, to the point where he made fun of me for me ordering French dip sandwiches with that much regularity. It's a glorious sandwich.
It's really good. It's really good. It hits the spot every time. It does.
I love me some au jus, David. I love me some au jus. I'm just saying.
Not going to disagree with you. It works.
So I already have a college football poll question up. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's National French Dip Day. And I might be missing one. But in your hot roast beef sandwich category, I think there's a big 3. And maybe French dips last in your book. You got the Chicago Italian beef sandwich.
Okay.
Which is amazing. I mean, you hear Jimmy the Beef Guy advertise. I can take down one of those in 8 seconds.
By the way, my wife said to me the other day, "Is it really Jimmy the Beef Guy?" I go, "Yeah."
Yeah, and isn't it? You know who owns the place? Jimmy. You know why? He's the beef guy.
Yeah, so therefore it's Jimmy the Beef Guy.
Then you've got your Philly cheesesteak. If we say anything bad about Philly, we get attacked on this show. And all we do is say good things about them, but we tell them every time that the tush push is going to be gone after the season.
Just for the record, the cheesesteak has nothing to do with the tush push. Okay, they're separate entities unto themselves. Yes.
So you got your Chicago Italian beef, you got your Philly cheesesteak, and you got your French dip. Now, the fact that 2 of these sandwiches just ooze Americana, Chicago, and I know it says Italian beef, Chicago, Philly, and then the French. And I know what we all think about the French. All they do is start a bunch of wars, and we got to clean up their crap. We've been paying them back since 1776.
Plus, they gave us the lady in the harbor. They really were nice to us.
Gave us the statue? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, first 100 years, they were really good to us. They were. We cleaned them up. Yes. Yes, they were. It was us against big ass Britain, and they helped a lot. A lot. Look it up. Summer of 1777. They came through for us. Big.
They're just pissed we fleeced them out of the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, let's not kid yourself.
They still gave us the lady in the harbor, though. They couldn't have been that, too upset. First 100 years, the relationship was fantastic. Last 150, it's been strained. But we've been there for them when they've needed. I just remember growing up, we couldn't have an American win in Paris. I mean, all those years, all those great American tennis players, none of them could win the French Open until Michael Chang came along. It was like, oh, thank goodness, an American could win in Paris. That's what I remember, Mark. Greg LeMond and Michael Chang, two Americans winning in Paris. It was like, okay, good.
So I did see a suggestion in the chat room for a hot brown. David, I'm going to ask you one question. Do you have any idea, A, what a hot brown is, and 2, what city it's tied to?
No and no.
That's why it's not making the poll. It's a Louisville thing. If you're having a derby party, a lot of people would suggest you do a hot brown. But I don't think, no offense, I don't think it makes the list.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I've got the French dip, the Philly cheesesteak, and the Chicago Italian beef in your favorite hot roast beef sandwich category.
All right. I like it. It's solid.
This is as tough of a question to vote on as there is.
Come on. Seriously? Might be for you.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, best chance of representing the NFC in the Super Bowl? The Rams end up winning 43% to 33% over Philadelphia. Seattle and Detroit tied with 11%. That's easy. Yeah, you pick one. But I mean, now we're talking French dip, Chicago Italian beef, Philly cheesesteak. 3 phenomenal sandwiches.
I must admit, I do care more passionately about this bowl question than I do who's going to represent the NFC. I will grant you that.
And then on the text line, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, by the way, Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN, 1-866-9-PELICAN, commercial, residential. Give them a call. Great guys, do a wonderful job. They've helped me out. They will help you out. But I got this text on the text line that said, this is why, when we were talking about the college football playoff, this is why the expanded playoffs are a complete joke. A complete joke? There are flaws. There are no doubt that there are flaws. And we'll have Bud Elliott on later in the show to talk about those flaws. But a complete joke? And I said, explain. He said, just look who's getting ranked where. It's nothing more than a popularity contest. Has nothing to do with how you will play football. Just screwing teams to a different number. That's all. So I ask, what do you prefer? 4 or 12? Because if it were 4 right now, what discussion would there be?
I think the only discussion would be, could Texas Tech, if they win out, would they knock off the loser of the Big Ten or SEC title game?
Right.
That would be it.
Instead, we've got a bunch of teams still fighting for spots. We've got an Oklahoma-Alabama game that if Oklahoma loses, they're out. If Texas loses to Georgia, are they still out?
I don't think they are. That, to me, more so than the committees desperately wanting Notre Dame to be in the playoff, I think the committee is going at least that far, if not farther, to not only ensure that Texas would be in the playoff if they win out, I think, Mark, they're going so far as to make it so that Texas at 9-3 will be in the playoff. I really believe that, because think about what one of the next two wins would have to be: at Georgia or A&M, who is likely to be 11-0 when they play Texas. I mean, just play along with me. Texas loses at Georgia. It's a competitive game. 10 points or less. 31-21 Georgia. How far does Texas fall? They've just lost to the 5th-ranked team in their poll on their home field. What did they drop? 3 spots? I mean, by the way, don't be surprised if when this happens, Texas is still ranked ahead of every school in the ACC.
The question to me, would Texas at 3 losses be ranked ahead of, they'd be ranked ahead of Oklahoma with 3 losses. I get that. They beat Vandy. Would they be ranked ahead of Vandy with 2 losses? Would BYU then pass Texas? Because BYU doesn't have a good win, or at least, maybe a good win, but not a great win. There's no great wins in BYU's resume. None.
Okay. And so you tell me, with this committee, how far do you think Texas falls if they have a quality loss to Georgia? 2 of their 3 losses would be to teams in the top 5 on the road. And then
here's the question. Would Texas fall behind Miami?
I don't think so. That's 5 spots. 5 spots for losing a competitive loss at Georgia. Look at what they've done to Notre Dame. Notre Dame with a 3-point loss and a 1-point loss to A&M and Miami.
But it's also, I will say, I can't believe, in Notre Dame's defense, those words should never come out of my mouth. And here they come. They do look at when you lost. They've always looked at when you lost.
Okay. But you know what I'm setting up
here.
I
know exactly.
And Mark, let's just say they drop Texas 1 spot behind Miami. Miami's 13 and Texas is 14. Miami's going to go to Pitt and win. Let's just say. Texas is going to beat A&M.
No, I think the question then becomes, if BYU runs the table and loses the Big 12 championship to Texas Tech by losing to them for a second time, would an 11-1 BYU or 11-2 BYU get the nod over a 9-3 Texas? That, I think, is your question.
And the same thing, by the way, with, I would like to think Georgia Tech would finish ahead of Texas if Texas loses to Georgia and Georgia Tech beats Georgia. But it's the same thing. You're wondering, can BYU run the table, lose in the conference title game? What if Georgia Tech runs the table? And then loses to, you got to figure, if they run the table, they're going to be favored in the ACC title game.
Correct.
And that's why these rankings are important, even if they're idiotic.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family-owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Where did you have a hot brown? because I think most of you are in Southwest Florida. Who serves a hot brown? I can't say I've ever had a hot brown. I don't want to discriminate against a hot brown, but I've never even, I think I've seen one at our country club like Derby week once, and I didn't get it. Just let me go here at this segment.
Okay. Can I ask you, Mark and JDR? So, what is a hot brown?
It's a roast beef sandwich. I believe it has it's almost like an open face roast beef type sandwich.
Okay.
Let me get your specific answer.
All right. And this is important.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up with us. It's a little chilly out there, isn't it? Yeah. Apparently, this is it. Winter. This is the last day of winter. Except in Huntsville. You guys, winter's going to be periodic for the next 3 months. But this apparently is the last day of winter before winter even started in Florida.
All right, David, I'm confused. I don't know if I've ever had this much trouble answering a poll question in the entire history of the show that we've done together, which is nearly 20 years.
You've done it to yourself.
I know. David, I literally had started writing down the pros and cons to the French dip, the Philly cheesesteak,
What?
and the Italian beef.
You've split the page in half for
thirds.
each sandwich?
I have. So let me just give you a little bit on each sandwich because I don't know what to pick here. I have no idea. The French dip, which I did not know, the origin is Los Angeles in the early 1900s. Medium rare roast beef. Some cheese, Swiss, provolone, or none. Maybe some caramelized onions and some horseradish. But the star is the au jus. Your Chicago Italian beef originated in the 30s. In Chicago, of course. With your Italian roll. The beef seasoned in the gravy. You get your jardiniere or your sweet peppers. I prefer the jardiniere. And then that whole damn thing, that whole sandwich is dipped in the juice. It's messy as a son of a gun, but my goodness, is it delicious. And then your Philly cheesesteak, also invented in the 30s, of course, in Philadelphia, on a soft hoagie roll. Now, this is where, some people will do it with ribeye, a little more expensive, or top round, but then you cook it on the flat top. This is where the negative comes in. The only negative I've found, and I don't order it this way, are those that get their Philly cheesesteak with Cheese Whiz. I would rather put, provolone on there than whiz. Then you get your onions and your peppers. I don't know how you can choose between these sandwiches. I don't. Now, I am going to give negative points to the Philly cheesesteak because of the Cheese Whiz. That's the only of the three sandwiches. The only negative that I can put out there is one of them uses processed canned cheese.
But that's if you use it. Like, I refuse to have a Philly with the Cheese Whiz. Sorry. I need real cheese.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And that's a stretch for you, David, because one would think of all the people on this planet that would enjoy processed cheese out of a can, you would be at the top of my list.
And with a cracker, it may be fine. Okay, but not with a roll and with roast beef and with peppers and onions. No, not okay. Sorry.
So I'm stuck here because this could be my lunch, one of these three sandwiches for the rest of time, and I would never get bored. Ever.
Well, I have to admit, do you know how many people you've made hungry in the last 4 minutes? Going into detail with what is involved in these three sandwiches. I mean, I want to run out and get one right now. And one of each, by the way.
And the toughest one, I mean, it's on a lot of menus. I will say there are places that can screw up a French dip, as I'm sure there are places that can screw up a Philly cheesesteak or a Chicago Italian beef. But we happen to have an Italian beef sponsor on this show. That's the only place I would even think about going for one of those. And I know for the cheesesteak, there's a place, close to me. They're not close, but there's a place in Naples, outstanding. There's another place in Fort Myers that people like. I don't think it's as good. I've seen people screw that sandwich up. But the French dip is probably screwed up more than any other sandwich. Why? Lack of meat. I mean, at the end of the day, how do you screw up a sandwich with beef? You don't put enough beef on it.
Right. There are quite a few places that the bread, it overwhelms the beef. That's not a French dip. That's bread with gravy.
So right now, my French dip is getting whooped on National French Dip Day on the poll question. Early voting, I haven't even voted yet. I am at a complete. I've never been this way in a poll. I've never walked into a voting booth and had this much trouble trying to pick out which person that I don't know that I'm going to vote on for the mosquito control board.
Right. You have selected judges with more clarity than you have best beef sandwich right now. Why? Because you didn't know any of the judges and you are familiar with all three of these sandwiches.
Right. Now, when it comes to the judges, 99 times out of 100, I say you've done it long enough. You're out.
You just vote against the
I
incumbent.
vote against all of them. By general rule. How about you go get a job now instead of we pay you for one? That's just my thought.
Did you ever think that person worked their whole life to get their current job? And that this is the top of the ladder, by the way, in what they do? Pretty much. I mean, it takes a lot to move over to the next categories. I mean, for most everybody you have voted against, that is the top of their profession.
You know what? It's a valid point. Yet, most times, David, I vote the judges out. And I think you do too, by the way.
Well, I do. And once again, this has to do with the fact that Miller and Moulton haven't fared well in front of judges. But
I mean, this whole 4 teams, 12 teams in the playoff, that's easy. That doesn't bother me. To me, it's 12 teams going away and it ain't close.
Well, I'll be very curious as to those who vote for. Okay, that you truly think 4 is better than 12. That interests me.
Right now, 3 out of 4 voting for a 12-team playoff, but 25% of the audience voting for the 4-team playoff. On the other hand, the Philly cheesesteak doing very well in early voting. Very well.
It's a really good sandwich.
It's a great sandwich. I don't know what to do with this vote. I really don't. I'm the one that came up with the damn question, and I have no idea what to vote on.
A sidebar Philly cheesesteak question would be, which way do you prefer it? Real cheese or cheese whiz?
And I'd have to have a long talk with people who say cheese whiz.
I'm curious how many people have had it with cheese whiz, because you pretty much got to go to Philly to get them that way. Not a lot of places, not that I've encountered. You get outside of Philadelphia, how many places have you gone to who serve it the cheese whiz way?
I think the place in Naples, you have your choice. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's impressive. In and of itself, that's impressive.
So go vote. I ask you to go vote, even though I am having a hell of a time casting a vote.
So are you that person who's behind the curtain in which somebody in line is like, hey, hurry up, for goodness sakes. This isn't that hard.
That's me.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
I love finding that special buy, that one-of-a-kind item that I know nobody else has, that we're proud to show and represent.
Don't be intimidated. Our sales team is not commissioned. They're here only to be here for you. They're here to educate. They're here to listen to you, listen to what your needs are, and help you find the perfect diamond and marry it with the perfect ring. You're going to find it here. It's here. This is what we do, and this is what we've done for over 20 years.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, on JDR, I've done both. I've hit both places. I mean, you kind of have to if you live within 2 hours. But it's tough to argue that you like the taste of the whiz over the taste of cheese. I mean, now I understand the whole argument about it's a Philly if you put whiz on it. Okay, that I could get, because otherwise, if you don't, it's a hot roast beef sandwich with cheese. Okay, I can give you that, but I don't know.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Have you voted yet? Because I kind of feel as if we're not going to get you back doing the show until you figure out which way you're voting on this National French Dip Day and which beef sandwich is the best. And, we got enough people who are wondering why, pastrami or corned beef's not a part of it. And it's like, listen, it doesn't fit the category, okay? We're limiting the category.
Yeah, and I screwed up because I've never had a hot brown. A hot brown has turkey, so who the hell even nominated that? If you know what's on it, you knew what the category was. Don't be ruining a great sandwich debate by putting your turkey on there.
So I mean, have you voted yet or no?
No.
Because I feel as if you're going to be useless to me until you vote.
This person, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number. If you haven't texted the show before, you need to text a keyword. That keyword is Miller, although it should be roast beef. But the keyword is Miller.
Right.
To 21,000, then you can let us know what's on your mind. But Chicago beef has no cheese, but it has the juice. Philly has the cheese, but no juice. French dip is easy, number one for having both. This person says, I can't think of a con on this list. Another person, I had a French dip sandwich yesterday and wasn't impressed. Yet, someone comes after you. David likes American cheese. That's not cheese. And then you have to have been with the show for a while. But I've had a bone to pick with a certain former professional athlete because this professional athlete broke my heart in 1987. His name is Kent Herbeck.
I'm like, wait a minute. We're going Kent Herbeck now?
Texter says, I bet Kent Herbeck orders his Phillies with Cheese Whiz.
Yeah! Yeah, that's a quality text right there. That's double hit you where you hurt.
That is funny.
I
am staring at the question and I can't vote.
It's unbelievable.
Can we talk about college football? David, bring up, is there a baseball free
no,
agent?
Actually,
manager of the year? Is there something you want to get to?
No, I have actually something I'd like to get to, in which I listened to a lot of sports talk radio yesterday. Did the show from Green Bay, as you know, if you were with us, but I flew out of Chicago home. That's a 3-hour ride. I had someone that I had to drop off at the Green Bay airport, and I stopped off and had lunch, but I ate it in the car. I listened to 4 hours of sports talk radio yesterday, which I don't normally do, because if I listen to sports talk radio, I listen national. But I listened to 2.5 hours of Wisconsin sports talk radio, Green Bay / Milwaukee, and then I listened to an hour and a half of Chicago sports talk radio. First off, The Bears fans, they are so happy. They're ahead of the Packers in the standings in November. You can only imagine what Chicago Sports Talk Radio was like yesterday. But this I found interesting. How many times is the local narrative different from the national narrative in either direction? Like in Jacksonville, only in the last 20 days have people in Jacksonville began to think what people nationally have been thinking for a year and a half, that Trevor Lawrence may not be that good.
Bingo.
Okay, it's only hit Jacksonville like a weather storm in the last 2-3 weeks.
But my guess is in Chicago, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, David, they were about ready to get rid of Caleb. They were done with him. They wanted he's a bust, he's no good. And I would think, because the national media didn't anoint him or anything like that, but certainly didn't say he was a bum. And Chicago's quick to turn on coaches, teams, players. They are.
But for what it's worth, the Chicago narrative about Caleb is still to be determined. But wow, this year is so much better than last. Maybe this Ben Johnson guy can salvage him. They know he's not elite, but they think he might be decent. We'll watch and wait and see. Here's the narrative I found fascinating. How many of you, and I'm assuming the majority of our listeners, are not Packers fans and are not from Wisconsin? How many of you think that Jordan Love is average at best? How many of you think that Matt LaFleur is not a good coach? Overrated. His career was made by Aaron Rodgers, and he's been hanging on largely since. And that, quite frankly, if you take away the one playoff win in Dallas, what has he or they done in the last 3 years? Because that's what I listened to yesterday. And I don't hear much of that nationally.
No, nationally, Jordan Love is the second coming, for crying out loud.
I mean, how much grief do I get? Because I've been pretty firm for a couple years. I'm not a Jordan Love believer. I'm not.
You never have been. Not
Nope.
from day one.
Nope.
And Pat Kerwin has been slowly coming to your side. And, Pat, a couple of weeks ago on the show, said, Jordan Love always makes that thrower four that's terrible.
Well, Mark,
and you go back to the San Francisco playoff game.
Well, I go back to his senior year at Utah State, okay, to be honest, in which I bailed on Jordan Love. But yes, I definitely go back to the playoff game in San Francisco. He cost them that game. I can go into detail as to how much he cost them that game. It should have been the Lions hosting the Packers in the NFC title game that year. And Detroit would have gone to their first Super Bowl. But I'll just leave that out there. Mark, I listened to 2.5 to 3 hours of people who make my feelings about Jordan Love look, wow. You're down on him a little bit. Wow. He's not the guy. He's not the answer. Okay, we're going to have to move off of him. How can we do that with the contract? And let me tell you, do Packers fans want a new coach? They'll settle for a new play caller, but they really are sick and tired of Matt LaFleur. Mark, can you quickly look up Matt LaFleur's record as the Green Bay Packers head coach? And I'm not kidding. There wasn't 3 hours. I listened to Green Bay. I listened to Milwaukee. I listened to Chicago. There wasn't a Matt LaFleur defender who had a show or was taking calls and texts on the show. I couldn't believe it, because Matt LaFleur will be out of work less than 6 minutes. But, Mark, What's Matt LaFleur's record as head coach of the Packers?
72, 36, and 1.
So
That's a winning percentage of 67%. He's won 2/3 of his games.
right,
He's
okay.
3-5 in the postseason for what it's worth.
Well, apparently the only thing he had going for him was that he had Aaron Rodgers to start his career. Because, man, are Packers fans done with him. Done. They were calling for McCarthy to come back.
What is interesting, and Pat talked about it Tuesday on the show, that would be yesterday, is that when he was in Green Bay for the season opener, when they for their first game when they pounded the Lions, that Packer fan was making Super Bowl plans.
Yeah.
Funny how things can change. For the record, for those of you wondering, Jordan Love this year has a completion percentage of 69%. He has 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He averages 250 yards per game.
Yep. The reason he has those stats, Mark, trust me, I listened yesterday. All right. The reason he has those stats are he won't hang in there in the pocket. He's flustered by pressure. He gets rid of it quickly. He doesn't look downfield at all. Now, I will say there were numerous examples that Troy Aikman pointed out. If Jordan had just hung in there, he had this breaking downfield. And Packers fans are all over it. They're tired of the check down. I thought I was listening to Chad Henne. Be the quarterback. Check down Chad. That's who I thought.
Moulton a while for that one.
That's who I thought was quarterback in the Packers these days. I thought it was check down Chad. Man, oh man. All right. The consensus from what I heard yesterday, the Packers will be lucky to finish 8-1. Just so you know. Okay, the quarterback's not good enough. He's never going to be good enough. We're stuck with him because of the contract, and we need a new play caller, if not a new head coach. Here's the other thing. Mark, remember the story Kerwin tells? I forget who the executive was. It was a big name. Oh, Ron Wolf. He walks into the locker room with Ron Wolf, and Ron Wolf just says, man, I'm tired of seeing that guy. Get rid of him. Okay, Packers fans are tired of seeing the Matt LaFleur cutaway. Okay, all they did was talk about, man, and how many more times do I have to see Matt LaFleur on the sidelines? And what's he looking at? What plays are he looking at? He calls the same damn 6 plays, and 5 of them don't work. Oh my goodness, they are bent out of shape. They don't like the coach anymore, who has a 67% winning percentage, and they think you don't dare mention Jordan Love in the same sentence with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. This guy's not any good. I heard, I kid you not, a 30-minute caller after caller after caller where the host said Caleb Williams or Jordan Love. I almost wrecked the rental car. Unbelievable.
It is funny.
Man said at this point, Love is better, but I'll take Caleb because of his mobility. I swear I was in a ditch.
I was with a Packer fan yesterday, and they're wondering the same thing.
Oh,
It's one, they've already lost 2 grotesque games this year. They lost to the Cleveland Browns and the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
And it's okay. I think it would have been okay for the Packers to have lost to Philadelphia if the final score would have been 31-28.
Even 20-17, I think they'd be
but
not on the ledge.
Fact that they scored 7.
Oh.
And it's so funny you say that about LaFleur, because literally the Packer fan that I'm talking to says, I am so sick of seeing LaFleur on the sidelines with that stupid face. And all I can think of is when I was bashing the Dolphins all those years ago, and Cam Cameron was walking around looking at butterflies, in my opinion.
And not only that, Matt LaFleur's a good-looking, young, soon-to-be middle-aged guy who wins 2 out of every 3 games. How sick of his face can you be? They're sick of his face. Wow.
You with the face. I don't want to see you anymore.
No. Man. I'm
And
laughing
David, the Packers' schedule is no
hard.
joke.
Was
No
brought
joke.
up, Mark.
After the Giants this week, with apparently Jameis starting for them, it's the Vikings. Then it's at Detroit. That's on Thanksgiving. Then home for the Bears. By the way, if they happen to lose to the Vikings, that would be all panic. But even if they go 2-1, David, if they lose to the Bears either time, the fan base is going to lose their mind, because that's something they believe that they are entitled to do. Beat the Bears every time they play them. But they've got 2 with the Bears. They go to Denver. They host Baltimore and finish with the Vikings. So 5 division games. 5 division games. And then Giants at Broncos, home for the Ravens.
Yeah. Oh, no. They just had the easy part of their schedule, and they've screwed it up. There's no question about it.
What has
Mark,
Miller and Moulton told you for years on this show? We're not right about a lot. We fully understand that. But when the schedule maker gives you a win, you have to take it. Carolina, Cleveland. I understand where there's a little unrest out of Packers fan. And like we said, you can lose to the Eagles, but they scored 7.
if I had $1 for every time I heard we're a third place team right now, they are so bent out of shape that the Bears are ahead of them in the standings. I have to admit, I don't enjoy local sports talk radio. I could have driven to Savannah listening to those callers yesterday. It was amazing. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best,
Be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, Michael, that'll be very popular with Giants fans who are going to be like, if we have to watch this product, because at least in Jameis's case, he'll chuck it. And at this point, they're just tired of dink, dunk, sack.
Oh, hell of a morning so far. Kids in the hospital.
Jake?
Yeah, went in at 11 o'clock. He's been in the ER since 11. Appendicitis. He has surgery later today.
Wow. Hope he's going to be okay, for goodness
Me
sake.
too.
Now, once again, we talk sports. Cheesesteaks. That's very funny, by the way. That's a very funny text.
It's true.
Oh, I thought it was because remember we mentioned whatever we mentioned like 2 weeks ago, and he thought it was one of our birthdays.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it is his birthday.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just busting him from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, me too, guys. Thank you very much for the kind words. But yeah, I hope he's okay too. I mean, this is twofold. One, I hope he's okay. And two, I've got a text with my ex-wife now. That's funny. That's funny, people. I mean,
No,
that
that's
is
very
quality
funny.
material right there.
Very funny.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on a hump day, at least in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Final hour of the show, Live Oak, Lake City, surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A lot that we're kicking around today. Very serious, heavy stuff. And we totally derailed the show because today is National French Dip Day. Then we started talking about which best beef sandwich do you prefer? And oh my goodness. I mean, this is like, 70 years ago. Who do you like in center field? For goodness sakes. Mays, Mantle, or DiMaggio, Duke? Oh my goodness.
I just voted on the sandwich thing.
Took him an hour, ladies and gentlemen. He's the one who came up with the question, and it has taken him an hour. You going to be able to live with your vote?
I am. I went French dip. It is my all-time favorite sandwich. I love the cheesesteak. I love the Chicago Italian beef, but the French dip and I go back a long way. We go
Really?
back,
Really?
over 40 years.
Huh.
I go back farther with that sandwich than with the other two. There's history.
It's a comfortable pair of pants. Is that what the French dip is?
You know what? It's like the tracksuit pants I wore yesterday that had Atlanta Knights on the side. I worked for that franchise from 1992 to 1994. I still have the tracksuit bottoms. I only wear them a couple times a year because they got a warm liner. They're too warm to wear most of the time. But last night at soccer practice, I was wearing them. I was sporting my Atlanta Knight tracksuit. So, yes, I go back a long way with the French dip, David.
I would have walked right up to you and said, the Ray LeBlanc pants, and just waited to see who besides the two of us would know the reference. I know he didn't play for Atlanta, but he played in that league at that time. And anyway.
All right. So we did talk a little, not a little, a lot of Green Bay Packers there. I do want to remind everyone, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, wide open. But here's the deal. Apparently, because we've got a contact up in Michigan, when that group dumped us, we lost that text line.
And they did dump us.
Yes, they did. And that's when we started out on our own. We are now our own entity. We had to get a new text line. We use the same company that they were using before. It's efficient. It works decent. And but you have to type the keyword Miller. So if you've been texting this show and been texting apparently about Cheese Whiz, you've been sending them to the birthday boy.
Right.
Our former producer, Trent Bally, who sent us a text saying, guys, I know you put that keyword out, but I'm getting a lot of texts, mostly about Cheese Whiz this morning. He has no idea what we're talking about.
Right.
But all of a sudden on his computer, because they both come up, the text for the Michigan show and the text for the Florida show apparently come up on the same screen. And all of a sudden he's getting text about Cheese Whiz out of nowhere.
Which translated means that many of you do not text this show about sports and haven't sent us a text in months. And what got you fired up enough to text us was a discussion about cheesesteaks and Cheese Whiz.
By the way, texter on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line says that New York City has the best French dips. Now, the sandwich was created in L.A. They might want to argue with you, but apparently Yankee Stadium has a great French dip. Probably costs $42, but apparently it's a good French dip.
Wash it down with the $18 Heineken. I mean, $60 for a French dip and a beer. It sounds about right.
When talking about quarterbacks, the Caleb Williams and Jordan Love comment brought someone in, probably a Patriots fan, to say Drake May's already better.
It's enough. That's everything. Yes, it's about your team and your quarterback. For goodness sakes. And yeah, he looks really good. He does.
Texter says, if I'm the Dolphins GM right now, I will trade them both the starting quarterback and their coach for our starting quarterback and our coach. Now a defender of Jordan Love says, Jordan Love stats-wise pretty solid, fourth most completions of 20-plus yards with 33 of them.
Hey, let's not let the facts get in the way of a good sports talk radio narrative, all right?
Another texter says LaFleur is the equivalent of Napier. Ouch.
Wow.
Ouch. Come
Come
on. He
on.
won 2/3 of his games. Napier didn't win half of his games. Slow your roll, dude.
Come on now. Even although someone did send us, I guess he's been the head coach with Jordan Love for 50 of Jordan Love's starts, and they're 26, 23, and 1. Okay.
Late to the party, but someone did recommend a 4th beef sandwich. It is a good beef sandwich. It would be clearly 4th, and I appreciate the Buffalo guy letting me know the beef on Weck. It's a good sandwich.
It's solid. It is.
But it ain't a Philly cheesesteak, a French dip, or a Chicago Italian beef. It just ain't.
I don't think so. So I don't think it gets above an 8 on the scale. I think it's a really good, solid 7.5, 8. Okay. I just don't think it reaches the 9 or 10 on the scale phase.
And I do love that we're getting a few texts from Jacksonville that are recommending cheesesteak places. I will give them to you during the break, David.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're limited to your fast food joints. You don't venture outside too much. I was very impressed when I had to drop something off for your daughter when I was down in Jacksonville, and she and her husband started giving me restaurants to go to, and none of them were fast food chains.
Right. None of them had drive-thrus. No, she's not in this instance. She's got a lot in common with me, but fortunately, no. See, the husband cooks. Husband reminds me of you. Okay. Likes to cook, is good at it.
Thank goodness, because there's no way your daughter could without taking a class, because she never had any experience inside her own home.
She was the
she
first
even brought
person.
up the fact that I cooked dinner for her all those years ago.
Right.
She was probably 8.
Yeah, something like that.
8, 9 years old, maybe a little older than that, maybe. But David was, before we teamed up, David was doing afternoons. I was doing mornings. We were going to go to the Blades game, the minor league hockey team in our town. And we were going to take the kids. And his daughter was going to sit in the studio for 3-4 hours while he did the show. And I said, do you want me to just bring her back to my place? I'll make dinner. She and Jake can hang out. And he's like, do you mind? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I brought his daughter home with my son, and the two of them played some video games, and I made dinner for the two of them. And David's wife had a meltdown. A meltdown to the point where she nearly divorced her husband because her husband had the audacity to let me watch his daughter for 4 hours.
Right. Mark was just apparently didn't pass the security test. I was unaware of that. He passed my security test, but apparently our tests are radically different.
And your daughter still laughs about that to this day.
Well,
probably still gives her mother a hard time about it, which is a little bit of why she's your daughter, Dave.
Yeah. It's one of those instances when you're a kid in which you go, yeah, I don't want to be like my mom or dad if they're going to act like that. Right. Yeah. That was one of those moments. But so I really appreciate it. I will take all requests. I've been in Jacksonville 3 years now. I have no friends, and I've eaten at 4 places that don't have a drive-through, and 2 of the 4 are chains. So I would take all requests. I'm in.
So we did just break down local Green Bay radio.
Oh, it was amazing. Amazing.
And their utter disdain for their coach and quarterback.
For their team that is currently in the playoffs despite the 2-game losing streak. Correct. Oh, my goodness. It just coming unglued to the total glee of the Bears fan. I have to admit, as someone who's now rooting for a team that can't suck enough, man, oh man, the Bears fan and the Chicago hosts were just having so much fun. They would come out of every break and they would just read the NFC North standings. It was pretty good. It really was.
But we talked about the Packers' schedule the rest of the way. Well, Chicago, there's not a lot of loose meat on this one. because the Bears go to the Vikings. Then they host the Steelers. Then what will be a good game on Black Friday, they go to Philadelphia. Then they're at Green Bay, home for Cleveland. That's their easy one. Obviously, we already mentioned they play the Packers twice. We were talking about Green Bay. Then they finish at San Francisco, home for Detroit. I don't know. Maybe they'll be favored at home against the Steelers. They'll be favored against the Browns. But that's probably about it, David.
Oh, no, there's quite a few good teams who have very challenging schedules the rest of the way. And there are a lot of good teams playing each other the rest of the way, which makes you wonder, is it possible for someone who right now is the 9 or the 10 seed to be able to put a little something together? Because, well, some of the good teams are going to start losing games. So maybe there's a bad team or mediocre team out there that can be the horse coming fast on the outside. And some are wondering, is it the Houston Texans?
Well, that would be in the other conference. So, I don't know. San Francisco right now is out looking in. Carolina, after what they did last week, how can you trust them to get to 9?
No. They screwed it up. Come on. Home against the Saints, and they lost an easy chance to get to 6-4 there. And, who do they have? Like Atlanta this week, in which we thought, if Carolina really has their act together, they could be 7-4 going to San Francisco.
I will tell you, if the Vikings win at home against the Bears this week, I think there's a realistic shot. They've got the Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants all on their schedule. The Vikings are down, but they're not out by any stretch of the imagination. Miller and Moulton on National French Dip Day.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
He has an appendicitis. He did not get into a car accident. Bread is better everywhere than here. I inject my hot dogs with Cheese Whiz. Wow. I'm sorry? And Michael, Cheese Whiz is disgusting. Sourdough. Although my homemade French and/or Italian's pretty good. I've been making bread. I'm like all those women that are on the internet making bread. I do love making some bread.
Well, thanks for sharing, Michael, and hello again, everybody. Hope you recovered well, though, from it. I have not had it, so I don't know what it feels like. Hoping I don't ever get to experience it. So my mom is trying to tell me that Cheese Whiz comes out of a jar, not a can. I'm like, no. And so she is sending me things, and we're battling back and forth.
It comes out of both. It comes out of a can and a jar. You're both right.
Morning, Javier. Whew. Just got to get rid of that road feeling.
Where is that truck logic, man? You take it over cheesesteak.com in Naples. Cheesesteak.com in Naples is pretty solid. Someone mentioned Chicago beef at a Pine Island food truck too.
Okay.
But not driving to Pine Island for a sandwich.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott will join us coming up in a little over 15 minutes time here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, and oh man, well, the sports one, I don't know, seems rudimentary to me, but apparently not, because more and more people keep responding the way that I find ridiculous. But which playoff format do you prefer more in college football, when it was just 4 teams, or now that it's 12 and 4 keeps getting more and more votes?
Yeah, 28% of the votes to 4 teams.
Right. Keeps slowly going up. It started at like 20 every time I look, 23, 25, 27, 28.
I would love for you that are picking 4, if you have the time and the inclination, to send me a text on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line and explain why you like 4 more than 12.
Keyword Miller, if you haven't texted in a while, because apparently a whole bunch of texts are going to Michigan. It's our alternate site. Don't ask.
Because if it were 4, what's the point right now?
Right.
Does Texas Tech get in over one of the top 2 in the SEC or one of the top 2 in the Big Ten?
That's it.
Where we'd be right now.
That's it.
Now, Alabama, Oklahoma would be a good game this week because if Alabama lost, they would be eliminated possibly. But I guess they might still make the SEC championship game. You know, Georgia would more than likely be sitting there going, how do we get in? Ole Miss, same thing.
Yeah, Georgia would have to be rooting for an Alabama loss, and then obviously they have to take care of business. But the ACC would be out, seemingly all but Texas Tech would be out in the Big 12. And, you know, there's quite a few SEC teams. I mean, is there a way for Texas and or Oklahoma to get in the SEC title game? Probably mathematically, although after this Friday or after this Saturday, probably not. But, you know, we just don't think there'd be a whole lot of oxygen left in the college football season. What would be interesting, I will say this, the magnitude of the Ohio State-Michigan game. If the game could get any bigger, because Michigan does not have a challenging schedule for the next 2 weeks. And there is a very good chance that Michigan is 9-2 with only one Big Ten loss because of scheduling. And they will be playing Ohio State. And the irony is that Michigan with a win would then qualify for the Big Ten title game. So if it were 4, would that loss knock Ohio State out of the playoff? You know, like there was a year when we still had 4, Mark, where Alabama lost the Iron Bowl to Auburn, who then went to Atlanta and lost to Georgia. Alabama got the 4th and final spot in the playoff. And I believe won the Natty.
And this happened a while ago for Miller and Moulton. This happened over a decade ago, in which ESPN at that time was running every game matters. That was their slogan for college football. And I think it was me. I just came on one day. We were doing afternoons. I'm like, David, it doesn't. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was like 15 years ago that you said that. Yeah. And you were like, this is a joke. And you started pointing out pretty much by Halloween how, you know, there were very few games left that mattered.
And that to me is still the case if it were 4. So I do think more games matter. Put it this way, Notre Dame at Pitt would be irrelevant Saturday in a 14 playoff. Irrelevant. It's a big damn game. USC and Iowa would be an irrelevant game. It's a big game for USC.
Well, and going further, let's just say USC wins. They're home. They're favored. The following week is USC at Oregon. Does that game have any meaning? I mean, does Oregon play a meaningful game the rest of the season if it was 4? I mean, I guess is it possible they could still get in the Big Ten title game with their only loss being to Indiana? They could be in a tie with Ohio State and Michigan, right? And I don't know what the tiebreaker would be in that situation because they all didn't play each other. So I guess it's possible Oregon would still have meaningful football left, possibly. But that's why we don't like 4.
And I get, just got a text on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line says, I prefer 12, but get rid of the committee and let a computer decide it. I don't know if you're wrong. I really don't. I mean, the committee has caused a lot of people to question what the committee is doing, if anything at all.
Now, we did joke, although it was true. The Big 12 seemed to really the computer seemed to really like the Big 12.
Loved the Big 12 for whatever reason.
Right. Don't know why, but, I mean, it just did. Oklahoma did really well in the computer. Nebraska, the 1 year, got to play for the national championship. They were fourth in the, human polls, if you will. The computer liked the Big 12. The computer chose Oklahoma got drilled by Kansas State, excuse me, in that Big 12 title game in 2003. And it was already determined before the game that there was no result that could happen that would knock Oklahoma out of the national title game. And so they got beat 35-7 in the Big 12 title game. And that was when we had 2, by the way. We didn't even have 4. We had 2. And the computer liked Oklahoma so much that, a one-loss USC or a one-loss LSU would not be in the title game because Oklahoma was already in. What?
Another texter saying, I vote for 4 teams because of the tradition of college football has always been go undefeated. Getting a 3-loss team eligible for a championship is a shame to me. Well, one, we've never had a 3-loss team make the playoff, ever.
But
and
we could this year.
Going undefeated means scheduling a bunch of crap. Rewarding teams for not playing anyone. If you want that, then we're never going to see Texas and Ohio State play week 1. We're not going to see A&M play Notre Dame. We're not going to see Miami play Notre Dame. Why would you? If all that matters is the 0 in the column on the right, why would you schedule a tough game? And yes, going forward, we are going to have, particularly if they ever take this to 16, we're going to have 3-loss teams in. The NCAA is going to look a lot more like the NFL. But the tradition of college football was go play in a bowl game and have pollsters decide who the number 1 team in the country was. Then we changed to the BCS. Then we went to 4. So tradition, really, if tradition's what you want, then the Big Ten plays the Pac. Oh, they can't. In the Rose Bowl, and the Orange Bowl has 2 at-large, and the Sugar Bowl has the SEC against an at-large.
Oh, the Big 12 champion would go to the Orange Bowl. Remember, the Big 8 champ always went to the Orange Bowl. So
the Big 8. Well, we got to bring the Big 8 back then. And if we want tradition, we've got to go a long way back. And the tradition has changed often. Where is the Southwest Conference going?
Well, the winner goes to the Cotton Bowl. But in all seriousness, though, we could have a 3-loss team this year. We really could.
Texas is that team. There's no one else to me with 3 losses that can get in, David.
I agree, but boy, Texas still has at number 5 Georgia and hosting number 3 A&M. And if they split them, and I think if they lose to Georgia but beat A&M, that's their best case to make the playoff.
Yeah, that would take BYU beating Texas Tech in a Big 12 championship game to maybe force Texas out. We will talk with Bud Elliott about the college football playoff rankings. It's his favorite subject. Really, it is, and it's next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments. The Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance for tickets. Go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239 444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, bud.
What's going on, guys?
Another week, another vote.
That's right.
What's that hat say again?
Madison Social. It's a big restaurant thing up in Tallahassee. Do you guys have any hot takes on the vote, or should we save it for the show?
We've been talking. I mean, honestly, it's driven most of the show today.
Nice. Okay.
I did not like where they put BYU.
Too high or too low for you?
They should have. To me, they should have been ahead at this point. I'd had them ahead of Texas, Oklahoma, because they've squeezed. Now they're done. There's no way for them to get ahead of them. You know, I know unless Texas and Oklahoma lose, I get it. But
I mean, yeah, but like if Texas and Oklahoma lose, I mean, the resumes are not similar really in any way, right? And if they win, that seems like it's going to solve itself, right?
I think BYU's only shot now is to win the Big 12.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We can get into this, but I don't know that I agree with that.
All right.
And my hot take is that I believe the committee has just greased the skids for a 9-3 Texas to get in.
That isn't hot at all. I think that's just factual.
Yeah, well, a 3-loss team making the playoff though is
yeah, but if they want to reward playing these big non-conference games, that's how you send the message. Man, you went to Ohio State, you lost it. you didn't play all that poorly. You played them tougher than anybody else did. Like it's that I think they want to show it's more about your wins than your losses, especially if the losses aren't to bad teams.
But part of the situation going on, though, is that the Big Ten and the SEC are only going to schedule against each other. So what do the ACC and Big 12 teams do non-conference when they literally can't get the Big Ten and the SEC to schedule them?
I don't know. I mean, are we sure that's like actually going to hold as much as we think it is?
Here we go.
Maybe.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Chris Perkins will join us then to talk Dolphins. What a fascinating team they are these days, even though they're 3-7. Speaking of fascinating, that's why we have Bud Elliott on. 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Nolecast, Cover 3 podcast. Follow him on X, Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud, before you go any further, it's a poll question created by Mark Miller for the masses, yet it took Mark over an hour to answer. He tripped himself up. Today is National French Dip Day.
Ooh.
Your choice is French dip, cheesesteak, or
Chicago Italian beef.
Ooh.
do you want to defer? Do you want to call a friend?
I mean, so like if I don't choose Chicago Italian beef, I think Tom Fernelli, my co-host, like from Chicago, is probably like gonna say
that's
me.
Okay.
Things.
You're on Miller and Moulton right now, so you're safe.
I think maybe cheesesteak, but like they're all good. I feel like sandwiches are a lunch thing, and like we're busy during the season, but like in the off season, I think I would pound one of those. In the season, like if I eat like a big Philly cheesesteak or like a big French dip, it's kind of like a nap. Like I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little sluggish, but like they're all good. I'm gonna go cheesesteak.
All right, naps are a great thing as well. All right, there are so many places to go with the playoff rankings. I want to start with something that to me is interesting. Miami moved up a couple of spots, but Miami's behind Utah and Vanderbilt. Utah in particular. Utah has 2 losses against quality opponents. I get it, but they don't have a win on their schedule anywhere near what Miami has. Does Miami have a shot without getting into the ACC title game if they win out?
They certainly do. They just need the right things to break in front of them. I think if you look at this, so to your point, when Utah is ranked ahead of Miami in these, Utah is also ahead of Miami in a lot of like the power rating metrics, which the committee doesn't tell us exactly what metrics it uses. They say strength of record, they say strength of schedule. They don't really specify what that strength of record or strength of schedule are. Like we know that it doesn't perfectly match like what ESPN uses or what else is on like whatever these other websites you want to take a look at. I think that like Miami does have a shot if you look at this, right? Like they're 15, okay. Vandy loses to Tennessee, they're out. Like could Utah lose again? Certainly possible, right? BYU could lose again in the conference championship game. If they get blown out, like I think they'll get jumped. Oklahoma and Texas certainly have more losses coming, most likely. So, yeah, I think Miami absolutely has a shot.
Do you think
a good one?
Do you think Miami's remaining schedule is such that if they win out and Utah wins out, Miami can jump Utah? Basically, does Miami need Pitt to beat Notre Dame and then beat Pitt? Or, because Pitt's got Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. I mean, They got a brutal schedule, and it seems like Miami's chances rely on Pitt.
I think that, like, Miami is definitely, like, buddy-buddy with Pitt for this week for sure. If Pitt takes down Notre Dame, I would probably think that like Miami's chances go to above 50-50, right? Because then like that knocks out a team that they really just don't have a trump card right now that the committee seems to be considering. Although I think like if we're going to value what actually happened on the field, it shouldn't be the only data point, but I think it should probably be like the singular data point that we're considering most when you look at head-to-head from teams. So yeah, if Pitt can beat Notre Dame, that's a huge help to Miami. If Pitt just looks good against Notre Dame and Pitt also manages to beat Georgia Tech and then Miami beats them, like maybe like by considerably, meaningfully more than the Irish do, then that's like a common opponent data point that they would take a look at, right?
Who knows?
Yeah, I agree.
Who knows?
Does Texas Tech, what is Texas Tech's shot to get into the top 4?
Who? Just Georgia losing to Texas probably is like probably locks it up for them, right? If they kill everybody else down the stretch like they've been doing, and Georgia just looks shaky, like I said this on our Saturday Night Recap show on Cover 3. I did not adjust Georgia's power rating up for their performance in killing Mississippi State. Like I bet Georgia in that game. I just thought Mississippi State was like outgunned, and then a lot of their starters were out. Okay, like their backups just cannot physically match up with Georgia if Georgia cares. And I thought Georgia had good reason to care in that one, just like to actually show a good performance for once. Yeah, so if Georgia loses to Texas at home this week, that's obviously one that we would take a look at and say, okay, like Texas Tech, as long as they win out, they're good. If Georgia looks shaky, I think possibly. Also, if Texas loses to Texas A&M and Vandy beats Tennessee, and Georgia Tech loses to like Pitt, then we could take a look and say, all right, who did Georgia really beat? A 4-loss Tennessee team? A 5-loss Texas team, right? Like there's situations there where Georgia's resume doesn't look nearly as good.
Vandy wins out, Miami wins out. Who's ahead of who or whom?
Does LSU beat Oklahoma?
Does it matter? You know what I'm getting at here. Miami beat Notre Dame. Vandy's best win is Missouri with the backup quarterback because the starter got hurt in the game. It's LSU who fired their coach and is going to go 7-5. I mean, come on now. I mean, I know they're in the SEC, but who did they beat?
David, this is my point, though. Like, we both know who owns the playoff, right? I think that if LSU beats Oklahoma, they'll find a way to put Oklahoma in as a ranked team, right? Or sorry, they'll find a way to put LSU in as a ranked team, so you can claim that as a ranked win. You know, like if Vandy beats Tennessee, I don't know they're going to drop Tennessee all the way out.
But going back to we know who owns the playoff, this is a TV show. We were the first, by the way, to say that everything we're talking about is a TV show.
Yeah.
In that case, I want Miami over Vandy. No offense.
I completely agree. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to give you the argument of how they could basically like engineer it here for Vandy if you want it. Like, it's like, all right, LSU beats Oklahoma, so they stay ranked. Tennessee somehow is still ranked at 8-4 because there's some other chaos there. Like then you're giving Vandy like multiple
every benefit of the doubt,
multiple ranked wins. We all agree there is no reason to rank 25 teams if you're trying to slot a 12-team playoff. 13 to 25 exists solely to justify whatever argument you're trying to make 1 to 12.
100%.
Because the spokesman needs to sit up there and say, "Oh, they have these ranked wins." I'm like, you guys decide who the ranked wins are. Literally, like
All right, I want to go back to something you just said because I think people may have missed it. I said, how does Texas Tech get in the top 4? You kept talking about them passing Georgia. If the big 4 right now in the rankings all went out, and then obviously we get an A&M Alabama SEC title, an Ohio State Indiana Big Ten title, do you think one of those teams could fall out of the top 4?
No. I was kind of just going off the idea that like Bama has to lose to Oklahoma or something like that.
No, okay, all right. Just when you said that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
No. Like I strongly think that if chalk holds, if A&M gets to Atlanta undefeated, if Bama gets to Atlanta with 1 loss, if Indiana and Ohio State get to Indianapolis undefeated, they will not lose their buys unless one of them gets absolutely killed or a quarterback gets hurt and they can use the Jordan Travis rule, which I'm not really sure applies to SEC teams. Whatever. But like, but no, if those teams don't lose until that conference championship weekend, I think we're
isn't that the big unwritten rule that you said last year before the conference championship games that guys, they're going to want to continue. They're going to want to somehow prop up these 40-something bowl games still. They're going to want to continue to prop up these conference championship games still. And that's the great, like, that's why we believe if Georgia Tech wins out, they're in the playoff. Okay, I know they're from the ACC, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If they're 11-1 going to Charlotte with wins against Pitt and Georgia to finish the season, by the unwritten rule of you will not be penalized for losing in the conference championship game, isn't that how the ACC gets 2?
I am not willing to say that this applies to conference championship games that nobody attends already.
Well, but they kept SMU in last year.
They did, but there were some real interesting circumstances there. Like they played an overtime game, or like they needed a 55-yard field goal to avoid overtime in that ball game. Clemson did. I am not willing to believe, and I do strongly believe that they do not want to disincentivize teams from playing in the Big Two. And I don't know that they're in love with like establishing this precedent, but I'm not sure that for the Big 12 and for the ACC that this is ironclad.
Oh, so you're saying it's only ironclad if you make the SEC and the Big Ten title games?
That is correct. In my
opinion. My goodness.
I think, but look, from a business sense, that kind of makes that also makes sense. Like you want to protect the games that people actually go to and people actually watch. Nobody gives a damn about the ACC championship game. They don't attend.
Well, but you could argue that making the result of the championship game, it means more. If you could lose it and miss the playoff, it makes the game. Like when unbeaten Georgia, defending national champion unbeaten Georgia, played Alabama and lost, they didn't make the playoff.
Right.
Because that game meant something.
But that is the SEC and the Big Ten. I don't know that they're going to give a damn about protecting the meaning of the ACC and Big 12 championship games.
All right. Is there a doomsday for the ACC that James Madison wins out, South Florida wins out, and I don't know what convoluted way the ACC screws this up, that they could be ranked behind the American and James Madison in the final rankings? Is it possible?
I was so fired up to talk about this on Saturday night because I was like, man, Tom, and Tom was way ahead of me on this. He already had pre-written his column, and he's like, hey, JMU's strength of schedule to date is 115th.
Right.
They lost to Louisville. So either they will have lost to the team that wins the ACC, or they will have lost to a team that doesn't even make the ACC championship game. And like, who's their win?
No, there's not. I'm asking.
Yeah,
you're better
at
at this than
I. Happens. I do not think that is very likely. I think legitimately here, they can cook the books on this, and probably should, to be honest, because they don't have to list like the next 5 or 6 G5 teams. They just list the highest ranked, right? Which is USF.
The ACC tiebreakers are very convoluted. Like the playoff committee's rankings do not play a role. Okay, there's a lot of levels of tiebreaker. So it's still possible Virginia could lose this week and still get in, or Duke by winning could still get in. And that's where I think Mark's wondering, is it possible if like Duke or Virginia win the ACC that South Florida can outrank them?
Okay, could South Florida outrank them? Yes. I could see the ACC being the 12 seed and USF being the 11. What I think is very unlikely, and Tom convinced me this on Saturday night, is I think the 2 G5s is really unlikely because JMU just doesn't have any good wins.
Man, if they'd have beaten Louisville, that would have been something.
In that case, like that, yeah, for sure.
How much of a shot do you give Oklahoma on the road against Alabama?
Pretty good shot. I'm wrong plenty, but I was one of the only ones I think that thought Oklahoma was going to go in there and win at Tennessee. And they needed some breaks and some fumble luck and whatnot, and some really nice defensive stands. But could Oklahoma not go in and win an ugly game? Like LSU played a pretty damn good defensive game against Alabama, and they just couldn't score at all. Do I know that Oklahoma can go score against Alabama? Not really. That offense is not great. LSU's offense is not great, but you kind of muck it up, and you play great defense, and maybe you hit a couple more explosives than LSU was able to engineer. Yeah, I think they could go in there and do it. Oklahoma's defense is really good.
Texas in Athens, how much of a puncher's chance?
A little bit of a chance because I don't think Georgia's defensive front is amazing. But like Texas on the road this year has been really sketchy, and that offensive line to me is not trustworthy. But Texas defense is real, so I think they could play. Like, Texas is the best defense that Georgia's faced so far. Running through my head, like better than Florida, better than Tennessee, definitely better than Alabama. Yeah, so like this is the best defense that Georgia will have faced. Can Georgia get to a number against them that we just don't think Texas can score because Texas doesn't block anybody? Like, does 28 get it done? I think if you told Kirby, I'm giving you 28, you're like, yeah, take it.
Does 24 get it done?
It very well could. So, but I do give them some chance. Again, like both of these do have some chance to be a low-scoring ball game.
Finally, Pitt and Notre Dame. What do you think of Pitt's chances?
I think Pitt's got a real chance.
Oh, okay, you do.
But like the one thing with Pitt is their D-line is not what it used to be. So if Notre Dame just controls the front, I just think they'll score a lot. But Pitt plays high variance defense. Like they get some weird upsets against them and they pull some upsets because they don't play like their like range of outcomes is wide because they are so high variance on defense and the quarterback's real. So it's not crazy to think that they could pull this off.
It's kind of like facing USC, right? Notre Dame could just line it up and run it down their throat, but okay. He's Bud Elliott, CBS 24/7. Bud Elliott 3 on X, Nolecast, Cover 3 podcast. He's a busy guy. Check him out.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
Your
details.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our Diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Good. They're still working on that damn condo, huh?
I know it, man. This is my reality. I got a few more weeks of it.
How much do you yell doing columns when you're right in the middle of something and the jackhammer starts? Or are you just gotten used to it now? Is it like the guy living next to the subway?
That's it. I'm numb to it, man. This is just my reality. It's there's nothing I can do. There's no use getting mad about it.
Are you heading overseas, or did you draw the short straw?
No, I'm the short straw guy. I am here at home. McDaniel did his press conference already. Tua's coming on at 9:30. So so I've watched, but there's nothing I can do but keep watching.
The industry has changed, unfortunately.
It has. David Ferrone is my coworker. Went. So we only send one overseas. So so it's Ferronis. So yeah.
Are you upset about that?
You know what? I should have fought for it, but I need to be in San Antonio to see family next week. So that's going to be I'm leaving on Monday to go there. And my family is how families are. I can't be around them for 2 weeks. That's way too much. I'm going to be around them for the bye week. And that's good.
So funny you say that. My mom usually, when she visits, will visit for about 5 days. And by the last day, she's like, I need to go.
Right.
Okay. And we're like, no. She's like, no, I need to go. And so this time she was in for 8.
Right.
Okay. And by the end, she was like, I love you, but not this much.
Right.
So you know.
Exactly,
Right.
man. Exactly. So yeah. So it's because I'm looking forward to next week. I am, because it's not a 2-week visit. So it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
So are we out for next week?
No. We're in. We're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Yeah. No, I do
know.
everything from San Antonio. Matter of fact, the reason I decided not to go this week also was because everything was going to be so early. It was so that, McDaniel would have been speaking at 5:30 in the morning. Right. Now he speaks at 6:30 in the morning Eastern time and 5:30. And I do like to have a cocktail or two with the family. So that wouldn't have been good. So getting up at 5:30 in the morning wouldn't have been good.
And the funny thing is, those cocktails can either extend the visit or shorten them.
Yes.
That's the beautiful thing about the cocktails with family.
That's right. There's a good chance an argument would have happened one of those nights, or will happen. But it'll be 6 glorious nights and days. But then there's going to be that one day. Yeah.
Sure, no doubt. Right. Yep. Usually the first night with cocktails, everybody behaves. It's by the third night with cocktails.
That's right. That's right. Old grievances start to crop up.
and people start, all of a sudden, hey, we haven't talked politics since you've been here. It's like, oh boy, here we go.
Exactly.
Well, and that's always my fear at Thanksgiving, because my mother-in-law comes down. My mother-in-law leans hard right. My mother leans hard left.
Oh.
And my wife and I just pray that it never comes up. And they're really good. They both know the way the other one thinks. They get along very well.
Right.
And my mom's yet to have enough wine to jump the shark and get into it.
Right.
I never worry about my mother-in-law. I just worry about the third glass of wine and my mother.
That's right. That's right. Our family's great. I mean, it's great.
It's why 4th of July is ahead of Thanksgiving on my favorite holiday list.
Oh, yeah. I'm a Thanksgiving guy.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's that time again, the Diamond District bonus hour on a hump day. That means Chris Perkins on Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. We talk Dolphins. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Honest question. The Dolph fans that you interact with, are they more upset that they beat the Bills than they are happy that they beat the Bills?
That's a good question, David. I think it's kind of split, that people are glad that they beat the stinking Bills, and then 2 seconds later, it's like, but what about our draft pick? So there is a lot of confliction there that people are not sure what they should be or should have been rooting for.
Why did Mike McDaniel go with the AI answer? If he trolled the Bills fans, I actually think he gets more street cred. If he admits it, yep, I did it. I think Dolphin goes, hey, he actually may be one of us. Why was he so avoiding the answer, if you know what I mean?
Mike was just having fun. He was just having fun. I'm 98% sure that was Mike McDaniel. Because if not, I think he would have come out and said it was not him. But, I liked seeing the fun Mike McDaniel come back for a couple of seconds. Mike has been pretty serious this year, as he should be, when you're, 0-3, 1-5, 2-7, and now shockingly 3-7. So we did kind of see the fun Mike McDaniel come back for a split second there. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him being coy about it and having a little bit of fun with it. I enjoyed him trolling the Bills fans and rolling by the elbow room, which is, the place where the Florida Panthers celebrated both their titles, but it's always a big Buffalo Bills hangout for years and years and years. What a great move by Mike McDaniel. Maybe he's starting to have fun again in his job.
You said a couple weeks ago when the Dolphins had a nice performance and a solid win that this was something that's repeatable. And of course, then the very next game, they didn't come close to repeating it. But, they beat the Bills handily, and Tua still threw 2 interceptions. I mean, that formula was run the ball. And Achane is a top 10 running back in the league if you'll give him the ball. I mean, is it possible? Mike McDaniel was the run game coordinator with the Niners, Chris. Is it possible that if he's going to extend his stay in Miami, that he will truly play a different style of football?
I hope that he plays a different style of football. I still think Mike McDaniel has a long way to go before we can talk about him extending his stay and being the coach next year. But running the football is just such a winning formula for this team, especially without Tyreek Hill and Darren Waller, because it takes so much pressure off of Tua. It sets up the pass game with the play action. It gives that offensive line a chance to fire off the line of scrimmage and be aggressive and be physical as opposed to, backpedaling and pass protection. So they get to assert themselves. They clear the way, the offensive line I'm talking about, for Achane to rush for $174. And then also they don't give up any sacks to Tua. I think that's the 3rd time this season that they haven't given up a sack. Tua was only hit twice. So Mike McDaniel should see, if I give my run game a chance, if I give my offensive line a chance, I give my team a chance. Now, granted, Buffalo was, I believe, 30th entering the game in run defense. So they took advantage of something that they should have taken advantage of. But I do think it sets a good precedent for the future. It's the way that they should be playing. It's the way that this team gives itself the best chance of being successful.
I feel like we've seen this movie before. The Dolphins play themselves out of any meaningful football in January, yet here they are with Washington with no Daniels, the Saints, and at the Jets. Could we be sitting talking about a 6-7 Miami team when they go to Pittsburgh, which right now is scheduled for Monday night? It could get flexed, kids. But could we be in a position where we're talking about the 6-7 Miami Dolphins?
I'll go a bit further, Mark. I think we should be talking about the 6-7 Dolphins. Right now, look, we know that middling and bad teams are very inconsistent. And when I picked the Dolphins to go 9-8, I picked them to be a middling team. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they can't pull off this 4-game winning streak. because that's kind of what 9 and 8 teams do. That's kind of what bad teams do. But yeah, they should be a 6 and 7 team going into that Pittsburgh game, because none of the teams that you just mentioned, Washington, New Orleans, or the Jets, should be able to beat the Dolphins. But we'll see what happens. And I'll tell you this also, when we talk about Mike McDaniel coming back, that Buffalo win is huge, probably a top 5 win of the Mike McDaniel era. However, these next 3 games, it would be more of the same if they beat New Orleans and the Jets and Washington. And what I mean by that is it's the Dolphins beating bad teams. For me, if we're going to talk about Mike McDaniel coming back, I want to see him beat Tampa and New England at the end of the season, because those are areas in which the Dolphins stumble, going up against good teams and playing late in the season. Those would be 2 games that impress me. We'll see what happens with that Cincinnati game if Joe Burrow is back. But I've got to see them beat the tough teams, Tampa and New England, before I would really consider Mike McDaniel coming back next season.
Chris Perkins of the Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Chris and all our guests appear on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. So Stephen Ross or somebody convinced him, blows up the organization, doesn't just get rid of the GM. He gets rid of the 2 director of player personnel, 2 guys who have been there combined like 60 years. So does this mean he's going to be in a big grand poobah? What does this mean? This is uncharted territory for Ross.
Yeah, we don't know what this means. I'll tell you this. A couple of players have spoken well of Champ Kelly, the interim GM. Minka Fitzpatrick on Friday was telling us that he likes what he's seen from Champ Kelly so far, that Champ has been out there on the practice field. He's been in the weight room. He's been interacting with players. Bradley Chubb told us that he was interacting with Champ Kelly personally at the trade deadline, phone calls, texts, that they kept in touch. Look, Chris Greer was on the practice field. I don't know how hands-on he was at trade deadline in previous years, if he was in touch with specific players. I don't know if he was in the weight room. And with Minka saying that Champ Kelly's been in the weight room, I don't know if he means working out, because Champ Kelly is jacked. Like, you can see it through his suit. This dude is jacked. So I don't know if he's been actually in there working out with players or just talking to players, but it sounds like players are giving Champ Kelly a lot of credit for being more hands-on, more interactive. So that's a good start for Champ Kelly. I'll also tell you that Brandon Shore, the salary capologist, whose official title is Senior Vice President of Football and Business Administration, seems to be gaining more power in the Dolphins organization. He was one of the people that Mike McDaniel named as being there at the trade deadline, being consulted. Champ Kelly, Mike McDaniel, Brandon Shore consulting with Stephen Ross. So in the new power structure, I'm not sure how the power pyramid is going to look, or how it looks right now. I'm not sure how extensive the interviews are going to be for the new GM, but this is uncharted territory. I don't know where it goes from here, but Champ Kelly is off to a good start. I can tell you that.
Great. A capologist getting more power, because that's what works out well. This reminds me of Tannenbaum, and that always worked out.
Well, and John Idzik with the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that scares the hell out of me. I know you don't get to talk to Ross. You've mentioned that a million times, that he doesn't make himself accessible to the media very often, if at all. Is there any talk of, as kind of David said, whether it's a vice president of football ops, what Jacksonville did, what Detroit did, someone between the owner and the GM that's a football person, to deflect some of the job that Ross has in interacting with his GM and coach? Any chance of that happening? What are you hearing?
I don't know, because what I know is that Steve Ross, as I've told you guys, really appreciated kind of the one voice thing. When he would check in with Chris Greer. In previous years, there was Don Aponte and Jeff Ireland and Mike Tannenbaum and Dennis Hickey, and there were all these voices in his ear. He likes just that power structure, that simplicity. I check in with Chris Greer, the GM. I don't know if he's going to be checking in at this point with Champ Kelly and Brandon Shore. If it's just Champ Kelly, if that's his preference, if he wants to go back to, yeah, as you say, having a couple of people in charge, we have no indication of any of that. Nothing has been told to us along those lines, and I don't think that Steve Ross even knows at this point. One of the people that I've talked with told me that they didn't know at this point how things were going to be structured. So, I think this kind of worked out for Steve Ross from the standpoint of it was a simple power pyramid, but he didn't get the result that he wanted. So I don't know where that leaves us because it's all about the on-field product, and that didn't work out. So I don't know if that changes the power pyramid.
About 45 seconds. Did the Dolphins make a mistake in not taking Buffalo's offer of a 1 and a 3 for Waddle? But the 3 would have been next year, the 1 and 27. Miami said, flip it, we'll do it. Buffalo wouldn't. Everybody's focusing on the Bills part of that trade. What about the Dolphins? Did the Dolphins make a mistake turning down a 1 and a 3 for Waddle?
No, I wouldn't trade Jalen Waddle to Buffalo for a couple of reasons. Number one, that's all Josh Allen needs is a standout receiver. I know they had it in Stephon Diggs, but Stephon Diggs was kind of a headache. Waddle wouldn't be a headache. And number two, you'd be facing Waddle at least twice a year, maybe 3 times if you have to face them in the playoffs. I'm not helping a division rival in that way. I know the draft picks would benefit the Dolphins, but you would be giving Josh Allen the next 4 or 5 division titles. I think the Dolphins did the right thing there.
Chris Perkins, Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Do we have 10 seconds to ask the poll question?
Yeah, Philly cheesesteak, Chicago Italian beef, or French dip. Which one are you going with?
Oh, boy, probably. I'm from Chicago, so I probably go with the Chicago one. By the way, I love those Jimmy the Beef Guy commercials that you guys run. It makes me want to go there. I'm going Chicago, hometown, but you can't go wrong with any of them.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I love the fact he's aware of our sponsors. That's just so great.
Yep.
Hey, well, good luck with Jake.
Yeah. He'll be fine.
Wow, I haven't been in a couple years. Logic Man.
By the way, it's Surf Witches is the place in Jacksonville. Surf Witches on Penman Road, Jacksonville Beach.
Oh, wow. I was just there.
And this person also asked, have you done a Whataburger since you've been in Jacksonville?
Yes.
He says that's his favorite of the fast food places.
All right. Surf Witches. Huh.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. We're heading for home on this hump day edition of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Couple different poll questions. College football. Which playoff format do you prefer? Going back to 4 or the current 12? Miller and Moulton very much in the current. We prefer 12.
And I prefer 12 to 16.
I do as well. I do
I
as
think
well.
we're going to end up with 16, but I prefer 12 to 16.
If the Big 12 and the ACC only get one each this year, which is possible, it's very possible based on the current rankings. Do you think that that makes us vault to 16?
No, because the SEC and Big Ten are controlling this thing along with ESPN. If somehow the Big Ten only got 2, USC loses this week and beats Oregon, and Oregon loses to Washington, then we'd go to 16. Then we'd go to 16, David.
Well, and I don't know if Oregon has to lose twice either. Like the scenario you just mentioned, let's just say if USC lost this week to Iowa but beat Oregon, or even if USC beats Oregon but ends up 9-3 instead of 10-2. I mean, USC 17, Oregon's 8 and home. Mark, I think Oregon drops out of the top 10 if they lose at home to USC. And if you fall out of the top 10, you're very much in danger of missing the playoff.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, right, you would be out right now. If you're 11 or 12, you're out. ACC champ group of 5.
Right. Okay. And remember, Washington really hurt Oregon by losing at Wisconsin last week and being justifiably dropped from the poll entirely. Unlike Pitt at 22, Tennessee hanging in there at the bottom of the poll, you know, you need your 5th, 6th team, or in the SEC case, 8th team to hold on to that poll ranking. Because it could really, you know, like if Washington had held on to their ranking, when Oregon played them, they would have been playing like the 19th, 20th ranked team in the country on their home field. Then if they had lost to USC the week before, a win at Washington might have gotten them back in the playoff. Not now.
So I don't think, you know, one ACC, one Big 12 gets this cry for 16. Big 10 getting 2. Patino lose his mind.
Well, remember, Greg Sankey was a half a step away from that when the SEC only got 3 last year. Because remember, who were the teams 13 through 16? He would have gotten at least 2, maybe 3 of those 4 spots, and Miami would have gotten the other. And that's why I wonder if this is the year that the Big 12, this will be 2 years in a row, by the way, Big 12 gets 1.
Okay, and I thought, and again, you know, Bud made some great points. BYU currently 12. Texas and Oklahoma are both underdogs this week. If they both lose, BYU realistically would hop back up to 10. Okay. But BYU's only a 4.5-point favorite hosting TCU this week. They can't screw it up.
Okay. And I'm more interested in, so let's just say Texas and Oklahoma lose on the road to teams that are better than them. Is Miami going to leapfrog them? Because they have to have any shot at win, you know, getting in as an at-large. Because I think from the tiebreakers that I've read, I don't like Miami's chances, even if they win out, of getting in the ACC title game. Because unfortunately, where they're ranked by the College Playoff Committee doesn't apply. There's like 4 or 5 other tiebreakers that would, you know, come into effect before that one. And I don't think those tiebreakers work in Miami's favor.
No, because first off, there are 5 one-loss ACC teams right now. So you'd have to have 4 of those teams lose again just to get Miami in a tie.
Right. Well, fortunately, though, like Georgia
They play
Tech,
Pitt, right? They play Pitt. I got you.
Well, right, but also Georgia Tech plays Pitt. Virginia's an underdog at Duke this week. I mean, there's a lot of, I will say, there's the right combination of 1 and 2 loss teams playing each other in the ACC down the stretch that Miami could end up in that. Like, Mark, I think you will have no more than one team with 1 loss in the ACC by the end of the season. But there's going to be like last year when you had the a 6-way tie in the SEC. As to just outside the SEC title game, I think you could have a 4-way tie in the ACC this year, and who's number 2?
Right. Duke and Virginia play. Louisville plays SMU this week. But then, if Louisville wins and SMU, Louisville, and Miami are all tied, they're Miami screwed.
Yes, they are. Yes,
Okay?
they are.
So to your original point, this is I looked up the ACC tiebreaker. I read through the ACC tiebreaker.
Right. It doesn't work for Miami.
It doesn't seem to work for the Canes.
No.
So you're right. If Miami wins this week and Texas and Oklahoma both lose, where are the Canes? And for that matter, where does Vanderbilt go? Vanderbilt wins out. Are they ahead of Miami? So a lot to be determined, and the ACC may beat themselves up over the course of the next couple weeks here, but I don't think it bodes well for the Canes having a shot at the title game. And that would mean 2 ACC teams get in, the champ and the Canes. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. If you're a Canes fan, I am telling you now, get the Pitt pom-poms out on Saturday.
Yes. I think it's their only realistic shot because they need to get Notre Dame out of the way. In a way, it hurts them because then their best win is not as good. But the fact of the matter is they're not going to pass Notre Dame in the polls unless Notre Dame loses. And so you've got Texas and Oklahoma as underdogs. Okay, you've got teams in front of you between now and the playoff that really could lose a game. But Notre Dame is probably not going to lose if they don't lose Saturday.
So a lot to be decided on still in college football. But one of the things that I think we've tried to explain to our audience over the past year and a half is, and Bud Elliott said the same thing, there's no need to rank 13 through 25. There's not. They do it to prop up the teams that they want to prop up. Tennessee staying where they are helps out the SEC. Pitt's there for a moment. They lose to Notre Dame, they're out. So this beating ranked opponent thing is important to the committee and whatever metrics that they come up with. But they also are the ones that are the group that's putting teams in their spots at the bottom of the rankings.
Do you think the committee ranked Pitt to bolster game day?
I think they just did it to bolster Notre Dame.
Okay.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. It's all coming next on the Diamond District Bonus Hour here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local glass doctor for details.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Kenneth, thank you for the kind words. We like Chris, too. He does a great job.
I got to admit, Puck, maybe I just had a couple of bad experiences. Maybe I'll give Culver's one more try for food. I guess I'll go in and have a burger.
I wouldn't. It's terrible. Their burgers are not good. Now, my mom says the fish sandwich is phenomenal.
Okay. All right.
I've had the burger more than once. It's not a good burger. Because I used to bring my daughter lunch. That's where I would go.
Right. Wow. Oh, Pop and Jake. I need it to be better. Okay. I need it to be better than okay. Okay. Logic Man's with your mom. Calls it awesome. All right.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
You created a monster today. Did you know you were creating a monster when you did it 3 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago? You came up with not the college football poll question, which playoff format you prefer. But when you got us going down the road of today's National French Dip Day and which beef sandwich do you prefer? Do you know the feedback we have gotten today about beef sandwiches?
It's been nonstop, so much so that our old text line in Michigan's getting the text.
Right. Once again, if you don't normally text us because you don't find anything we talk about interesting because we talk sports, okay, we get it. It's when we venture off and we talk about National French Dip Day that you want to comment. If you haven't commented in a while, the keyword is Miller. You have to send that to 21,000, and then you're back. We can read them, not our old company in Michigan, who apparently are reading like dozens of your texts.
By the way, you went Philly, right?
I did. Even though there are some Philly people angry at me because I really don't prefer the Cheese Whiz Philly. I don't.
And your mom's even mad at you about that.
She is. Okay. And by the way, the second alternative, when I've gone to places in Philly, and if they're not doing Cheese Whiz, they do provolone. Okay. And that's not my number one or two choice.
No, that's a stretch on the molten cheese tray.
Right. But I'll go with it. And I find it, it's excellent. It just is. I think
it's one of the tougher questions I've ever asked of myself of which sandwich to pick. And I ultimately went with French dip. We go back a long way, me and the French dip.
Did not know. I mean,
probably go back to high school with the French dip.
I didn't think that any relationship that wasn't with your wife or children would be more significant than the long-term relationship you had with the Chargers. But it sounds like you and the French dip, you fell in love with the French dip before you fell in love with the Chargers.
It's not true. I fell in love with the Chargers in 1980 when the Lions got off to a great start, and it was the another one bites the dust year.
Right.
I like Jefferson and Winslow
and Fouts
and
Ronnie Harmon and
I mean
Joyner.
Joyner and Jefferson. That was really cool to me.
Winslow.
That was and I liked the Steelers more than the Cowboys as a kid. The Lions were bad, but when Eric Coryell came in, that was something that was so new to me. That's where the love comes from.
So this French dip relationship almost as long as your relationship with the Chargers, which you broke off last month.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I broke up with them.
Yep. Forever this time, though.
Forever.
Okay.
Forever.
All right. But if you're going to create a monster like this in a poll question, anytime soon. Could you think about it? Because it has overwhelmed the show.
I don't know what to tell you. I will say this. There should be a few restaurateurs out there that I know there are some that listen that should be paying attention to these national days, because got to be honest, if your special's not a French dip sandwich today, you missed out. You did. Simple as that.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1920 today. Baseball owners elect Kennesaw Mountain Landis as the first commissioner of baseball. 1927, Notre Dame changes the blue jerseys for green. 1931, Maple Leaf Gardens opens in Toronto. Toronto did what they always do. They lost.
Look at you, just piling on. And you were rooting for the Blue Jays.
I was. But they went all Maple Leafs on us. Today, at least fictionally in 1955, Marty McFly makes it back to the future when lightning strikes the Hill Valley Clock Tower at exactly 10:04 p.m., sending the DeLorean and Marty back to 1985. Today in 66, we give him a lot of credit for a lot of things. We could blame him for this. Buzz Aldrin takes a space selfie, maybe the first selfie ever taken. Today in 73 in Leeds, Queen begin their first tour. They open for Mott the Hoople. Aaron Pryor, today in 82, with a 14th round knockout of Alexis Arguello in Miami to retain the super lightweight title. It was the first of two meetings between the two Hall of Famers. It was Ring Magazine's fight of the decade.
Decade. I want you to think about the fights that took place in the 80s. It was epic. It was on HBO. Unbelievable. They stood in front of one another and destroyed each other.
Big day for David today in 84. Madonna releases her second studio album, Like a Virgin. It would kind of be a big deal.
I had this friend in college, and he's passed at a way too young age, over 25 years ago, Dave Miller. He was all in. I didn't know much about her. He was a little older. He shows up, and he's banging on my door, and he's like, we got to go. And I'm like, we don't have class. What? He goes, we got to go get in line. The record's going on sale. And I'm like, I'm not going with you. Fine. And he slams the door shut, and he goes and he gets in line. And he was like the seventh in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm like, how big is the line going to be?
Couple of things happened today in 1990. The World Wide Web is first proposed by computer scientists Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Callaloo.
Wait a minute. I thought it was Al Gore.
I was waiting for that. Thank you very much, David. And also today in 1990, the game dubbed the Body Bag Game.
Oh, yeah.
Eagles coach Buddy Ryan threatens beating the Redskins so badly, and I quote, they'll have to be carted off in body bags. The Eagles would score 3 defensive touchdowns, win 28-14, and knock 8 Redskin players out of the game.
And Buddy got fired 2 months later. It had nothing to do with this, but yeah.
Marino became the all-time passing yards leader, passing Tarkington today in 95. A movie probably many of you haven't even heard of, but it was released today in 1999. It's Kevin Smith's Dogma. If you're Catholic and haven't seen it and you have a sense of humor, I recommend it. If you're Catholic and don't have a sense of humor, well, then I might not want to watch. I think it's hilarious.
I'm guessing your wife does not.
No, she doesn't. I believe it's Cardinal George Carlin. I'm just leaving you with that.
Nice.
Let's see. Mike Fiers, the Astros pitcher today in 2019, reveals that his team secretly stole signs from cameras from visiting teams to 2015 to 2017, and that they would be relayed to Astro batters. And The Mandalorian, the Star Wars franchise show, was released today in 2019. Jack Ryan, you've never heard of him, but he was a toy designer. He invented the Barbie doll and Hot Wheels. Come on now. That's big. He, Grace Kelly, Charles Manson, and Miles Lane, the boxing referee, would have all celebrated birthdays today. Al Michaels is 81. Canadian rocker Neil Young is 80. Gold medalist Nadia Comaneci, the first with a perfect 10, is 64. Boxer Michael Moore, 58. Sammy Sosa is 57. Tanya Harding is 55. Lucas Glover won the Open in 09. He's 46. Ryan Gosling, 45. Russell Westbrook, 37. And Paulo Banchero is 23 years old today. What did I miss, David?
He's just 23.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Right, he's going to be a problem.
For a long time.
They're off to a bad start, but he's really good.
Yeah.
If he can develop a little better outside shot, he's really dangerous.
Isn't that the story with that whole team not named Desmond Bain?
Oh yeah. 100%.
4 games in the NHL tonight? Or you got stuff?
No. Today was the day when did I miss it?
Gotcha. No, you hit it all.
Just calm down over there. I'm not
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
4 games in the NHL. What the hell's going on?
Listen, all I know is I literally, because of this French dip day, I have nothing but requests from members of my family to go out and get food. Can we just end this show? Because I got food to purchase.
We go to Illinois, where U.S. Air Rifleman James Bennett during World War II ended up in the possession of a Purple Heart. It spent decades in a safe deposit box before being returned to the family and their rightful owners. Bennett, who died in 1990, the family was able to get the Purple Heart and give it to Michael Ferenis, who was the person awarded it. So I guess all's well that ends well.
I guess.
For the bad, David, this is a story specifically for you. We go to Lebanon, Missouri for this story, where police were called to a laundromat across from Lebanon High School because Cade Nunn was accused of organizing and encouraging a fight between 2 juveniles who allegedly had an ongoing dispute.
Here we go.
Friday night football game, the victim received a message to come to the laundromat to talk about the beef between they and the other juvenile. When they got there, a large group had their phones out, and, well, the one lady was yelling to get it on. She went all Miles Lane, David, and wanted the fight between 2 juveniles. A lot of adults were around being, yelling, kick their ass and things like that.
Right.
When she was asked while she arranged the fight, she claimed that the fight was bound to happen eventually and was present to make sure it was done safely.
Yep. Sounds like my mother dragging me over to Kenny Larson's house, knocking on the door and asking Mrs. Larson, can these two just fight and get it over with? And she went, yeah, sure. Kenny, come on down and fight David. It's a true story.
We go to Broward County for the ugly, where a couple of weeks ago, 4 students at Margate Middle School had to go to the hospital because apparently 7 to 8 students knocked down some edibles. 4 students were hospitalized and the rest were released to their parents. All were fine. Police said they didn't know what kind of edibles the students ate, but appeared they contained marijuana. They're still trying to figure out who stole them from which parents. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Wednesday, November 12th. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, great pay, overtime available, great benefits. Where do they go, David?
CapeCops.com. I repeat, CapeCops.com. All right, we got to make it fast. 2 ranked teams in college hoops in action tonight. One of them's Tennessee hosting North Florida. Since they took the Ospreys' best player a year ago, it's kind of them to now pay them about $100,000 for a guarantee game tonight. They're a 41.5-point favorite. Top-ranked Houston also in action. 12 NBA games. Both the Heat and Magic in action. Magic in New York to face the Knicks, 7 o'clock ESPN. Heat, a rematch with the Cavs in Miami. The 9:30 game is Lakers OKC. Combined, those teams are 19-4. 4 hockey games tonight. Lightning hosts the Rangers. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton